Pokémon, I became a Pikachu. Welcome back, brave explorers of impossible worlds. We are excited to have you here to continue this odyssey together. Before we continue, everything you'll hear is pure fiction, so please don't try to replicate combat techniques at home. This wonderful story in all its rights belong to its brilliant original author. We are only the messengers of entertainment. Want another dose of adventure? Subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a single chapter, and if you can't wait, our Patreon has exclusive surprises you'll love. Chapter 376 Random, Dead. Damn it. Ash, since you dared to come here, you'd better be prepared to die. Just you wait. Your arrogance won't last long. Although Random appears rough, that doesn't mean he's brainless. With Nidoking defeated and Machamp hit by Pikachu's electric ball, Random knew he'd suffered a crushing defeat. Leaving behind a villainous slang phrase, Random put away his Pokeball and prepared to leave. However, Mu Chen wasn't about to let him escape. Pikachu, what the hell? Coming and going as you please, did you even ask my opinion? Without a word, with high speed boost and quick attack activated, Mu Chen relentlessly chased after Random in the direction he'd fled. Damn it, Team Rocket trash, huh? I don't care if you're Random or whatever, I'll electrify you all. Zzz. Moving swiftly, Mu Chen caught up with Random, who had lost his Crobat. No. Golem, come out and stop it. Random had assumed Ash, unfamiliar with the area, wouldn't dare pursue him. But before Ash could even give a command, Pikachu had already caught up. Faced with Pikachu's pursuit and the oncoming Thunderbolt, Random could only summon Golem, hoping it could block Pikachu. However, he overestimated Golem's strength and underestimated Mu Chen's speed. Gurgle, Golem did block the Thunderbolt. But that was all. Pika, you stupid rock, you think you can stop me? Seeing Golem glaring with those bull-like eyes, Mu Chen looked at it with disdain. You idiot, keep patting your chest and striking poses, I'm not playing along. With a quick flash, Mu Chen changed direction in an instant. Then, with a stylish tail whip, Mu Chen once again chased after the desperately fleeing Random. No. I'm Team Rocket Elite Four member Random, you can't kill me. Seeing Golem easily shaken off by Pikachu, Random panicked even more. However, his fearsome status as a Team Rocket Elite Four member offered him no protection. Pika, are you kidding me? Elite Four member with an extra hair? I've electrocuted people before. Lance, wasn't he also an Elite Four member? What happened in the end? He was electrocuted anyway. You think you're so great just because your name has an extra character? Get down on your knees. Crackling sounds, without any hesitation, using his high-speed running, Mu Chen leaped into the air and hurled a Powerball at the terrified Random. Boom, the Powerball slammed into Random's body, creating a deep crater along with Random and the ground behind him. Pikachu, holy crap. My Powerball is this powerful now? Keep in mind, Mu Chen's Powerball wasn't charged. Even the quick attack buff had ended. Just by moving at high speed, he could unleash a full force attack comparable to his previous charged attack. Although Mu Chen used the slow-moving Golem as his opponent, this power. At this moment, Mu Chen suddenly felt a surge of anticipation for his remaining ultimate move, Thunder. Tisk, the power of Thunderbolt has increased, and Powerball has become awesome. So, what about Thunder? What effect will Thunder have now? If he didn't use a charging boost, could he reach the level of that Zapdos from back then? At this moment, Mu Chen finally understood the benefits of this beginner Pikachu. Although he was still a Pikachu, he had undergone a complete transformation in essence. If he were to face Samaranch's Moltres again now, he would win with absolute ease. Boss, Random is in trouble. Just as Mu Chen was killing Random and contemplating the future, Giovanni, who was in the valley, received a report from his subordinate. Random is in trouble? Who came? How many people came? Random didn't even have the chance to escape. Upon suddenly hearing that his general had fallen, Giovanni was slightly stunned. He didn't care about Lance's accident, that guy was incredibly slippery, and he had also lost his main Pokémon. But Random was his most loyal general. Who could defeat Random in such a short time, without even giving him a chance to escape? Could it be Lance? In the Kanto region, the only person Giovanni feared was Lance, the Dragon-type Elite Four member. Giovanni himself possessed the power of Viridian, allowing him to wield supernatural forces, and also had an incredibly powerful Beedrill. But Lance also possessed the power of a dragon, and had an even stronger Dragonite. If Lance had come in person, Giovanni wouldn't have been surprised at all that Random had been left behind. Sorry, boss, it wasn't Lance. According to our intelligence, Lance is still stationed at the League headquarters in Indigo Plateau. An Elite Four member had suddenly been killed in one of their secret bases. Not only Giovanni couldn't accept it, but the elite members of Team Rocket were equally unable to accept it. An Elite Four member. This was an Elite Four member. In the entire Kanto region, and even the world, there were countless trainers, but how many could reach the Elite Four level? Now, an Elite Four member, even if he was at the bottom of the Elite Four ranks, was still an Elite Four member. Such a revered figure, gone? Damn it. Send men out immediately, but don't alert them. Find out who they are. Giovanni was busy with Muto and couldn't go himself. Left with no other choice, he sent his men to investigate who had invaded their island. Not Lance? When did such a powerful figure appear in the league? Even against the veteran Elite Four member, Agatha Christie, Giovanni didn't think Random would have no chance of escape. Pikachu, let's rest here today and continue our investigation tomorrow. Ash, of course, was unaware that Giovanni had sent men to investigate his identity. Pidgeotto was seriously injured, and without a scout, and after a fierce battle, Ash could only choose to rest. Pikachu, Mu Chen had no objection to Ash's request. Come to think of it, it's been a long time since I've sparred with these old ladies. They all came out looking at me with resentful expressions. Shouldn't I take this opportunity to make up for it? Chapter 377 The So-Called Elite. I know, Shanna, corner. Night fell on the silent, deserted island. Ash was fast asleep. Mu Chen skillfully took out all the Pokeballs from the old women at once. As for why there were only Melodic, Gardevoir, and Sylveon, Mu Chen explained that he couldn't handle too many. The last one, Frostless, would have to be summoned by Mu Chen next time, and the old women naturally looked resentful. You heartless yellow-skinned rat, how long has it been since you challenged us to a duel? Don't you know that our strength hasn't improved in a long time? Strength can only be improved through constant battles. Pikachu, what's with the complaining? I just haven't had a chance. Looking at the old women who kept complaining to him, Mu Chen was speechless. Damn it, I can even become human and still accept you guys. You should be laughing all the way to the bank. Without further ado, with high-speed movement activated and a lightning bolt unleashed, Mu Chen charged towards the most agile Gardevoir. This old woman's high-speed movement was too annoying. If he didn't take her down quickly, she would keep harassing him. Therefore, the experienced Mu Chen made the first move against Gardevoir. Shanna, seeing that Mu Chen had attacked her first, Gardevoir was also taken aback. What's going on? Do you think I'm that easy to bully? Without saying a word, Gardevoir raised her hand and launched a psychic attack at Mu Chen. Obviously, this old woman intended to use psychic power to block Mu Chen's charge. Pikachu, with her greatly improved strength, how could Gardevoir's psychic power possibly withstand Mu Chen's attack? A 100,000 volt attack was launched, not only shattering the psychic power but also affecting Gardevoir herself. Sarcasm, struck by a thunderbolt, Gardevoir let out a painful cry. Damn it! You damn rat, are you serious? It was supposed to be a friendly spar, but who knew Pikachu would go all out? Even though Psychic had mitigated much of the Thunderbolt's power, Gardevoir was still in excruciating pain from the shock. Pikachu, holy crap. Sorry. An accident, absolutely an accident. Damn it, I went too far. In the past, the aftershocks of such an instantaneous thunderbolt, after shattering Psychic, would at most cause Gardevoir a slight numbness, not much damage. However, with Mu Chen's greatly improved strength, this guy had clearly forgotten about his own advancement. Looking at Gardevoir lying on the ground, stunned, Mu Chen was helpless. How could this continue? I know, just as Mu Chen was stunned, Melodic's huge serpentine tail lashed out at him. Enraged by its best friend's accidental injury, Melodic was furious. Squinner, not only was Melodic enraged, but Miss Squinner was equally unforgiving, unleashing an energy ball at Mu Chen. Clearly, these two old women were determined to kill this wretched yellow-skinned rat. Pikachu, holy crap. What are you doing? I already said it was an accident. Seeing these two old women's insatiable desire to kill, Mu Chen could only frantically dodge. This accident had already knocked out Gardevoir. If he knocked out two more, would he ever be able to spar with them again? However, Mu Chen's lack of retaliation only fueled Melodic and Miss Gwynor's morale. I know, you heartless bastard. Either you ignore us sisters for over 10 days, or you come out and immediately try to kill us. Are you trying to turn the world upside down? Today, I won't let you off the hook until I give you a good beating. Melodic was right. You damned yellow-skinned rat, what happened to sparring every day? How long has it been? And you come out and immediately try to kill Gardevoir. I think you're asking for death? No doubt about it, today we sisters have to teach you a lesson. As the saying goes, we're united in our hatred. In their anger, Melodic and Miss Gwynor unleashed extraordinary battle power. Even Mu Chen found it a little difficult to cope. However, the Pokémon in the midst of the fierce battle didn't notice that several pairs of eyes were observing them from the shadows. What's going on? Are all these Pokémon owned by that infiltrator trainer? Yeah, these Pokémon look incredibly powerful. That Pikachu's Thunderbolt attack is terrifying. Pikachu is amazing. Melodic and Gardevoir are even more terrifying. Did you see Pikachu getting beaten so badly it couldn't even fight back? Those secretly observing were naturally the elite Team Rocket members dispatched by Giovanni. They couldn't understand the conversations between Pokémon, but they could understand the battles. This Pikachu was arrogantly taking on 3 at once. Although it managed to take down one Gardevoir with its surprise attack, Pikachu clearly couldn't handle Melodic and Gardevoir. In the eyes of these Team Rocket elites, these Pokémon were incredibly powerful. At the very least, they were beyond their capabilities. What should we do? Should we just report this to the boss? The problem is, what would you report? Tell the boss there's a battle between Pokémon on the island. Yet, speaking of battles, what exactly happened? Pikachu and these 3 Pokémon shouldn't be one person, right? Could there be other invaders on our island? You're right. There's definitely more than one invader on our island, and they're not all together, too far away. These so-called elites didn't dare get close enough to observe, which meant they couldn't discern the truth of the matter. Forget it. Let's report this to the boss quickly. They initially thought it was just one invader. Now it seems it's definitely not just one person. After some discussion, the so-called elites decided to inform the boss. The enemy's firepower was too fierce, we small fry couldn't withstand it. It's best if the boss handles it personally. However, these so-called elites who left early didn't see the ensuing battle. After the women's anger subsided, Mu Chen naturally launched a counterattack. The night was once again filled with the painful screams of several Pokémon. What? More than one intruder? And Pikachu is battling them. Giovanni, of course, had no idea what the real story was. Upon hearing his subordinate's report, Giovanni was completely bewildered. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 378 Kakuko makes her move. Send the order, seal off the valley. No one is allowed to leave this place before Mewtwo awakens. Pikachu's words clearly referred to Ash. Any Pokémon capable of battling Pikachu must be incredibly strong. While Ash does possess Pokémon like Melodic, Giovanni doesn't believe Ash's Pokémon would engage in a life or death battle at night, especially since Ash's Pokémon are far weaker than Pikachu's. It's precisely because of this that Giovanni issued the order to seal off the valley. Although he could easily subdue Ash himself, who the hell knows how many people are on the island? If his presence is exposed again, the League might launch a concentrated attack. They might even expose his public identity. Of course, a League attack wouldn't frighten Giovanni. As one of the world's strongest Pokémon, even without resisting Lance, Giovanni is confident he can escape. But the problem is, what about Mewtwo? What will happen to Mewtwo? Because of the previous loss of control, Mewtwo has now been regained control and brainwashed by Team Rocket. The brainwashing isn't over yet, so getting Giovanni to leave Mewtwo? Absolutely not. In Giovanni's view, as long as he seals off the valley and remains undisturbed, no matter how many people the League sends, even if the entire League comes, he'll find a way to repel them once Mewtwo recovers, and might even gain some unexpected benefits. However, how could Giovanni know that all of this is just a beautiful misunderstanding? With Giovanni sealing off the valley, Ash is naturally left adrift. After 2 days of frantic searching on the island, Ash hasn't found a single thing. Ugh. Pikachu, I guess Random is the only one left on this island? Now that he's dead, There shouldn't be anyone else on the island, including the first day. Ash has been here for 3 days. But to Ash's dismay, apart from random on the first day, he hasn't fought a single battle. This ascetic lifestyle is definitely not suitable for Ash. What Ash wants is battle, endless battle. Pikachu. Hearing that Ash wanted to leave, Mu Chen was the first to raise his hands in agreement. His random mission this time was only to protect Ash's safe evacuation. There was no requirement on when they would leave. If they left now, wouldn't his random mission be complete? Although Mu Chen had rekindled his relationship with those old women during the few days on this deserted island, what he wanted most at this moment was to leave the island. However, Ash and Mu Chen were unaware of this. On the second day, Agatha had already arrived at the deserted island. Agatha originally wanted to launch a surprise attack on Ash under the cover of night. However, the sounds of Pokémon battles constantly came through the night, along with the painful cries of Ash's Pokémon. Agatha knew from the sound that Ash was strengthening his Pokémon. Without an opportunity, Agatha could only wait silently, waiting for Ash's encounter with Rocket. But 3 days had passed, and Ash hadn't noticed a thing, nor had there been any battles. Ash wanted to leave, but Agatha, who was secretly monitoring him, disagreed. "If you leave, where will I find such a good opportunity again?" she thought. It seems my intelligence was flawed. There's no Team Rocket on this island, of course, because she arrived a day late. Agatha didn't know Ash had already encountered Team Rocket's Randall. After some deliberation, Agatha made her decision. Since there was no Team Rocket on the island, she'd launch a surprise attack on Ash. The first 2 times were due to insufficient preparation, but this time, Pikachu definitely wouldn't escape. However, Agatha didn't know that Pikachu's strength had greatly increased. "Pikachu! Look, it's the League's helicopter." Ash, of course, was unaware of Agatha's scheme. After deciding to leave, Ash naturally called out to the League. In less than half a day, the League's helicopter appeared in Ash's sight. However, boom, just as Ash and Mu Chen were about to board the helicopter, the behemoth suddenly exploded. Pikachu, caught completely off guard, Ash and Pikachu were naturally blasted far away. "Hey brat, I didn't expect you to be so lucky. I thought this would be enough to kill you." Suddenly blasted away, Ash and Mu Chen's brains were naturally buzzing. However, before Ash and Mu Chen could recover, they heard an old man's sinister laughter. Cough cough. Elite Four member Akiko? Why, the speaker was none other than Akiko, who had been preparing for this for a long time. The exploding helicopter was also arranged by Akiko. As for why it wasn't detonated after Ash and Mu Chen boarded the helicopter? Just kidding, what if it went wrong and killed Pikachu too? Akiko always wanted Pikachu. Normally, at such close range, such a violent explosion would be absolutely impossible for an ordinary human to withstand. It wouldn't be surprising if even a slightly weaker Pokémon was killed instantly. However, things didn't go as Akiko expected. Ash wasn't dead, and he wasn't even seriously injured. Pikachu didn't seem to be affected much either. Although her first sneak attack had failed, Akiko was still confident she could take them down. At most, it would just take this old lady a little more effort. Hey, why? You've heard the saying possessing a treasure is a crime, right? You're not worthy of possessing a Pokémon with such boundless potential as Pikachu. Kid, if you obediently hand over Pikachu to this old lady, then I might consider letting you suffer less. Filled with confidence and placing herself in the position of the victor, Akiko naturally didn't care about concealing her presence. This brat, you're dead today. Damn it. Akiko, Elite Four member. No. You don't deserve to be called Elite Four member. Pikachu, let's fight. Ash, of course, wouldn't agree to Akiko's demand. As a battle maniac, Ash wasn't one to sit idly by. Since this Akiko had ill intentions towards him, then let's fight. Pikachu, Ash wanted a battle, and Mu Chen wanted one even more. Damn it. You old hag, I've wanted to electrocute you for ages. Since you've come to me today to help me complete my hidden quest, then I won't be polite. Chapter 379 The Jengar army arrives. Come forth, Jengar. With masks torn off, they clashed. As a veteran Elite Four member, with countless battles to her name, Agatha Christie wouldn't hold back at this moment. Ash. HMPH. Today is your death day. Eohe. With Agatha Christie's summons, 6 Jengar appeared around her. All 6 were Elite Four level Pokémon. Although she had suffered losses at Pikachu's hands, Agatha Christie was a veteran Elite Four member, and she still had that much strength. The appearance of 6 Elite Four level Jengars in a row was naturally imposing. Clearly, Agatha Christie was taking this battle extremely seriously, using all her trump cards. Damn it! Melodic, Gardevoir, Frostless, Pidgeotto. Come out too. Faced with a powerful Agatha Christie, Ash, with no other option but to fight, summoned all his Pokémon. Even though their strength was far inferior to Elite Four level Pokémon, even though Pidgeotto had been seriously injured, Ash still had no choice. Although Ash can be a bit goofy at times, and his emotional intelligence is questionable, he's considered a born fighter. His instincts are incredibly sharp when it comes to battle. He knows perfectly well that only one person can leave this place alive today. It's either him or Agatha. Ha ha ha. Kid. Aside from Pikachu, none of your other skills are worth my attention. Seeing that Ash had pulled out all the stops and didn't pull any ridiculous moves, Agatha's heart immediately settled. Jengars. 1 against 1, take them down. And then, my strongest Jengar partner, Pikachu, is yours. Hold it off. Use Shadow Ball. In a 6-on-6 group battle, trainers naturally don't have the energy to command everyone simultaneously. But that doesn't matter, Jengars are among the most intelligent in the Pokémon world. Akiko was confident that her Elite Four level Jengar could easily defeat Ash's Pokémon, even without her command. As for Akiko herself, as long as she commanded her main Jengar to hold off Pikachu, she could launch her all-out attack once the other Jengar had dealt with their opponents. Of course, having suffered a great loss in the last battle, Akiko would absolutely not resort to any tricks or cell maneuvers this time. She didn't need anything, relying solely on her raw strength, defeating this Pikachu and Ash wouldn't be a problem. Partners, let's fight. Melodic, use Water Pulse. Gardevoir, use Psychic Beam. You two are the main force, you must defeat the opponent. Heidi, use Leech Seed, hold off your opponent. Frostless, use Snowdrop, your task is also to hold on. Finally, Pidgeotto, fly. Use your fastest speed to restrain your enemy. 5 Elite Four level Jengars attacking simultaneously was bound to cause panic. Ash knew that the key to victory in this battle lay with Pikachu. If Pikachu could defeat the strongest Jengar before his side was defeated, then he could achieve final victory. The opposite was also true. If Pikachu wasn't fast enough, and the other Pokémon were defeated one after another, even if Pikachu was incredibly strong, Ash didn't think it could really take on 6 opponents at once. As the two launched their attacks, the battle was about to begin. Hey! Little mouse, we meet again. Pikachu was an old rival of this Jengar. He wasn't confident in defeating it, but he thought he could hold it off. Pika, damn it, trying to show off to me? I'll electrocute you. It was fine when he couldn't transform, but ever since he could become human. Mu Chen really disliked being called a little mouse. Mouse? Mouse my ass. I'm a handsome, dashing guy, okay? Zzz, no doubt about it, a 100,000 volt attack the moment they met. Hey. Thunderbolt? Take this. Akiko had already commanded it to use Shadow Balls. Having received the order, the cunning Jengar had already secretly prepared. Now, fully charged, Jengar showed no fear facing Pikachu's Thunderbolt. Jengar waved its hands repeatedly, and Shadow Balls appeared from thin air, blasting towards the Thunderbolt. Pikachu, holy crap! A Gatling gun? Seeing Jengar unleash over 10 Shadow Balls at once, Mu Chen was utterly dumbfounded. Holy crap! My strength has increased, and this thing has increased too. Boom. 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 While Thunderbolt was powerful, Jengar relied on sheer numbers. After a round of attacks, even after defeating Thunderbolt, 4 or 5 Shadow Balls remained, their momentum undiminished. Hey! Little mouse, you're nothing special. Seeing that it had gained the upper hands in the first round, Jengar's momentum surged. Pikachu, don't try to act tough. You think you can beat me with that? You're far from it. Although the first round of attacks exceeded Mu Chen's expectations, it wasn't enough to make him panic. With a boost of high-speed movement, Mu Chen propelled himself forward several meters with a powerful push from his hind legs, barely dodging Jengar's Shadow Ball attack. Jengar, use a spell. Seeing that Pikachu's speed seemed even faster than before, Akiko frowned. Damn it! This little mouse has grown stronger again? Akiko hadn't originally planned to let Jengar use a move that would consume a lot of its stamina so early. However, seeing that the little mouse had improved again, Akiko had to change her tactics. It was already very difficult to deal with before. If it had improved again, it wouldn't be easy to hold it off. Therefore, Akiko's final decision was to use a spell. The spell move is unique to ghost-type Pokémon. While it doesn't have a direct offensive effect, if it hits an opponent, the target's HP will continuously decrease. This is quite an insidious move. Hey, little mouse, take this. Jengar didn't hesitate after receiving Agatha's command. Although the spell would consume half its HP, as long as it could put the little mouse in a state of continuous HP depletion, it would be a huge win. Pikachu, a spell? What kind of nonsense is this? This old woman hadn't used this move before against Agatha. Now, hearing Agatha's command, Mu Chen instinctively had a bad feeling. Damn it, you old hag, how come you have so many weird tricks? Chapter 380 Insidious Spell Skills. Damn it. Pidgeotto, hold on. Just as Mu Chen and Agatha's strongest Jengar were locked in a stalemate, Ash's side encountered trouble first. Melodic and Gardevoir were alright. Although they couldn't defeat their opponent, they were enough to temporarily stall them. Frostless was relatively weaker, but she could hold out for a few more minutes. Misco gave Ash a huge surprise. A Leech Seed hid her opponent, giving Ash hope that she could wear her down. Unfortunately, Pidgeotto messed up. If Pidgeotto hadn't been injured before, things might not have turned out this way. After all, it was one of Ash's early Pokémon, and its strength wasn't that bad. However, after being brutally defeated by Randall's Crobat, Pidgeotto was already barely able to fight. Now, facing a champion-level Jengar, it could only flee in a sorry state. Fleeing is always a passive thing. Sure enough, in a moment of trouble, Pidgeotto was blasted down by a shadow ball. Seeing Pidgey tumble to the ground, Ash was immediately horrified. Unfortunately, in Pokémon battles, Ash could only cheer and offer encouragement. There was really nothing else he could do. Pikachu, just as Ash was struggling with this, Mu Chen also fell victim to the spell. Although he had been prepared for this seemingly weak spell, to Mu Chen's dismay, the move had absolutely no warning. After preparing for so long, Mu Chen hadn't even seen Jengar activate its spell, nor had he felt any energy fluctuations. Then Mu Chen realized he'd been hit. The spell entered his body, and Mu Chen instantly felt his stamina draining away. This truly gave Mu Chen a cold sweat. What the hell? What the hell is this? So insidious? Although the stamina drain wasn't huge, if it kept going like this, wouldn't I eventually be exhausted? The thought of this possibility gave Mu Chen a headache. Damn it, how come this old woman has so many weird tricks up her sleeve? Damn it. I was saving my energy for the remaining Jengar, but it seems I can't afford to drag this out any longer. Mu Chen knew that if he continued to drag this out, only a slow death awaited him. Rather than being defeated cowardly, he might as well fight to the death. So what if you have a lot of Jengar? I have my own group of women cheering me on. Through observation, Mu Chen also saw the battle situation on the other side. Seeing that his women were still holding on bravely, Mu Chen made a decision. Damn it, today I'll show you my full strength. Pikachu, ignoring the loss of stamina, he activated his charge skill and activated high speed boost. Mu Chen was ready to use his ultimate move. Jengar. Use Shadow Claw to interrupt Pikachu's charge. The implications of Pikachu's charge were self-evident. Akiko wasn't stupid. If Pikachu finished charging and fired a black electric ball, her Jengar really wouldn't be able to withstand it. Now, all Akiko needs to do is keep wearing down and delaying until Pikachu's stamina is depleted by the spell and it completely loses its fighting ability. Take this claw. Even without Akiko saying it, Jengar knows how powerful this thing is. If it gets a charge, can this ghost handle it? No doubt. Shadow Claw, here you go. As soon as he finished speaking, Jengar stretched out his ghost claws and grabbed the Pikachu. Unfortunately, while the momentum was strong, the speed was too slow. Although Jengar is also a Pokémon known for its speed, it is really no match for Mu Chen, whose strength has greatly improved. The Shadow Claw missed, and Jengar was immediately put on the defensive. Pika, didn't catch it? HMPH. Now it's up to me. Without being interrupted by Shadow Claw, Mu Chen's charge skill was successfully completed. Quick Attack was activated, and Mu Chen launched a rapid charge at Jengar. Oh no. Jengar, use Substitute. Seeing Pikachu's state, Agatha naturally knew this was the prelude to the Black Electro Ball. The power of the black electro ball was truly breathtaking. However, Agatha didn't want to be just a backdrop to this beautiful scene. Without any hesitation, Agatha gave the command for Jengar to use substitute. Pikachu's electro ball was essentially an explosive attack. As long as it could block this electro ball, Jengar would have a chance to stall for time and even turn the tide. Eehee! Watch my substitute. The electro ball attack was unstoppable, and Jengar was already in a panic. Having received Agatha's prompting, it naturally didn't hesitate. However, both Agatha and Jengar underestimated Mu Chen's intelligence. Pika, you two idiots, do you think I'm a brainless Pokémon? My wisdom is beyond the comprehension of you bunch of idiots. Hearing Agatha's command and seeing Jengar's actions, how could Mu Chen not know what they wanted to do? Substitute? Damn it, would I be stupid enough to blast a substitute with an electric ball? Even if my electric ball was powerful enough to shatter a substitute and even damage Jengar's main body, it would only attack one Jengar. What I want is for all 6 Jengars to be hide at once. Mu Chen knew that with his constantly depleting stamina, he couldn't possibly fight a prolonged battle. Therefore, what he needed was a quick victory. High-speed movement, quick strikes, these were all just illusions. What Mu Chen really wanted to do was use thunder. After his significant power increase, Mu Chen's thunderbolt had greatly increased in power, and his electric ball had also received a major upgrade. Now, only thunder was left to be used. Although using thunder would deplete his internal electricity, did that matter? Anyway, even if it wasn't depleted, his stamina wouldn't last long. In just that short time, Mu Chen could feel that at least a third of his physical strength had been drained. What did this mean? After his significant improvement in strength, Mu Chen discovered that he could now control the electricity he used. This meant that his lightning strikes were no longer the aimless, indiscriminate bombardment they used. Now, Mu Chen could control the location of his lightning strikes. Pikachu, zzzzz. With a shout from Mu Chen, the electricity on his cheeks instantly converged and slammed into the sky. Whoosh, drawn by the electricity, the sky over this deserted island instantly darkened. A huge black cloud, as if the end of the world had arrived, appeared above Mu Chen and the others. Chapter 381 Mu Chen's Thunder. Crackling and popping, dark clouds loomed overhead, and electricity crackled. Looking at the scene before her, Kiku was dumbfounded. What the hell? What's going on? Where's the black electric ball? What is this? If this is a lightning attack, it's terrifying. This is lightning? This is a true legendary Pokémon's signature move. But the problem is, how is this possible? It's just a Pikachu. Even if this Pikachu has the potential to become a supreme electric-type legendary Pokémon, that's just potential. How could its strength have increased so much in such a short time? This is simply unscientific. However, at this moment, no one was explaining anything about science to Kiku. Pikachu, the cry came again from Mu Chen's mouth. Whoosh, sizzle, his cry sounded like a general issuing a command to his subordinates. The dark clouds and lightning in the sky were Mu Chen's subordinates. Upon receiving the general's order, the black clouds instantly unleashed a fierce storm. Bolts of electricity surged and crackled, as if ready to utterly destroy the island at any moment. Damn it! Jengar, we retreat. Seeing such power, Akiko dared not confront it head-on. This was a genuine attack from a legendary Pokémon. Could she, Akiko, withstand it? Well, as a veteran Elite Four member, Akiko could indeed withstand it. But the price she would pay was unbearable. Losing even one Elite Four level Jengar was already painful enough. Under this black cloud and lightning attack, Akiko couldn't guarantee how many Jengars she would have left after surviving. If the losses were too great, it would be a complete loss. At this moment, Akiko's only thought was to retreat quickly, temporarily avoiding Pikachu's onslaught, and then find an opportunity to launch a sneak attack. The moment she saw the black clouds, Akiko's heart was filled with regret. I was too careless. I thought I could easily defeat Ash. Who would have thought Pikachu's strength would improve again? Pikachu, trying to retreat? Did you even ask me? Although the lightning in the sky hadn't reached its limit, seeing Agatha trying to retreat, Mu Chen felt it was worthwhile to forcefully activate thunder. Boom! 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 A series of lightning bolts fell, striking Agatha's Jengar, which was retreating from the battle. What? How is this possible? Agatha was dumbfounded, watching the lightning strikes as if they were precisely guided. What the hell? Thunder is always known for its powerful attack, but it's also difficult to control. As long as you're agile, you can dodge it amidst the dense lightning. But what kind of monster is this? 5 lightning bolts fell at the same time, all striking a retreating Jengar. Clearly, the falling lightning was controlled by Pikachu. Great! Pikachu, well done. Unlike Akiko's astonishment, Ash was so excited he almost jumped up. Pikachu truly lived up to its reputation as his starter Pokémon, his most powerful Pokémon. It was reliable at this crucial moment. With Pidgeotto's defeat, Ash's side was completely at a disadvantage. With Pidgeotto gone, Jengar was freed up. And with it free, Frostless was in trouble. She was already struggling to hold on, and now another one had appeared. How could she possibly fight? 2 Shadow Balls later, Frostless gloriously saw stars and fainted. Losing 2 Pokémon, Melodic and Gardevoir were under immense pressure. Even Melodic, who had been gradually gaining the upper hand with Leech Seed, was also forced into a frantic struggle. But just then, the sky changed color. From Akiko's side, a panicked retreat order came. Ash knew, of course, that it was all because of Pikachu. This guy was clearly fighting desperately. Eohe, Eohe, thunderstruck, and the Jengar army, unable to dodge, cried out in pain. As a super move among electric-type Pokémon, the power of thunder was not to be underestimated. A single bolt of lightning struck their bodies, and the Jengars felt as if all their strength was being drained. However, a champion-level Pokémon lived up to its reputation. If an ordinary Pokémon were hit by this thunder, it would surely be severely injured, if not killed. But Akiko's Jengar army only cried out in pain. Then, their retreat speed was even faster than before. Clearly, the Jengar army had withstood the first wave of thunder attacks thanks to their strong physiques. Pikachu, withstood one wave? Then let's continue with the second wave. Thunder is not a one-time use move. As long as the dark clouds in the sky didn't disperse, the thunder could continue indefinitely. This was the reason for its terrifying power. Previously, when the Jengar were entangled in fighting with his group of old women, Mu Chen was worried that he might accidentally injure them if he lost control. But now, boom, the lightning struck again. Jengar, gather together and use shadow balls to bombard the lightning in the sky. Kiku knew that if her Jengar were hit by another wave of lightning, they probably wouldn't be able to hold on. There was no time to dodge, so Kiku could only grit her teeth and choose to have the Jengar gather together, relying on their combined strength to fight against the lightning attack. Hey, receiving Kiku's command, along with the strongest one beside her, a total of 6 Jengar gathered together and unleashed a barrage of shadow balls at the lightning in the sky. Boom, 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 violent explosions rang out in midair, and dazzling flames seemed to illuminate the entire island. Good job. You all stick together, we're retreating. Seeing her thunderbolt attack blocked, Kiku was overjoyed. As long as it was blocked, things would be much easier. You Pikachu are going all out now, using Thunderbolt. This old lady isn't going to play with you anymore. Once I temporarily retreat, and your Thunderbolt is over, and your stamina is almost depleted, this old lady will launch a counterattack. Then, HMPH. Let's see if you survive. Pikachu, Kiku's plan was good, but how could Mu Chen let her have her way? Kiku knew Mu Chen was going all out, and Mu Chen, as the person involved, naturally understood even better. Without any hesitation, Mu Chen activated Thunderbolt again. But this time, Mu Chen changed his target. Damn it, you Jengar are grouped together, my Thunderbolt really can't break through their defenses. So, what if I just blast you, Kiku? Chapter 382 Mu Chen's Operation. Damn it. Quick, protect me. Seeing several bolts of lightning, as thick as buckets, hurtling towards her from the sky, Akiko panicked. Normally, trainers would leave one Pokémon to protect them during a life-or-death battle. However, having underestimated Ash, Akiko hadn't left any. She reasoned that with Ash tied down by his Jengar, this Pikachu, a mere Pokémon, would never think to use such an unconventional fighting tactic as attacking a trainer. But Alice, this Pikachu was named Mu Chen. Damn it, you old hag, I'll blast you to death. Mu Chen was determined to win this battle. Now that the pretense was gone, if he didn't seize this opportunity to take down this old hag, Akiko, there would be endless trouble later. Moreover, this was related to his hidden quest. This hidden quest had been hanging for a very long time, and Mu Chen had long wanted to find an opportunity to complete it. Now that the opportunity was right in front of him, And this old hag Kikuko had practically delivered herself to his doorstep. Why should Mu Chen be polite? In fact, Mu Chen even suspected that the random mission was related to this old hag Kikuko. If he could kill her, he could complete 2 missions at once. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Hey, Mu Chen wanted to kill Kikuko, but her Jengar subordinates naturally disagreed. Without a word, following Kikuko's command, the 6 Jengar gathered together and simultaneously unleashed a barrage of shadow balls at the rolling lightning falling from the sky. Boom! 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 Violent explosions echoed through the sky once more. Damn it! Damn it! You brat! And you little mouse! Just you wait, get ready to face my wrath, Kikuko. Although she wasn't directly hit by the explosion, the aftershocks left Kikuko quite disheveled. Enraged, Kikuko's face grew even more somber. Through this battle, Kikuko realized that Pikachu's strength had greatly increased. She had lost due to carelessness and underestimating her opponent, which wasn't unjust. However, Kikuko was confident that as long as she could successfully retreat, the moment Pikachu's stamina was depleted would be her chance to launch a desperate counterattack. But clearly, this old woman had forgotten a saying, bad people always die from talking too much. Just as this old woman was gritting her teeth and thinking of revenge, Mu Chen once again unleashed his lightning. Pikachu, damn it! You try to block, you keep blocking, let's see how many waves you can withstand. 3 sets of lightning strikes had already rained down, and the density of the dark clouds in the sky was gradually thinning. Mu Chen knew that, given the state of his dark clouds, he could only unleash a maximum of 2 to 3 more concentrated lightning strikes. If this stalemate continued, it would naturally be very bad for him. But don't forget, Mu Chen could control this lightning. HMPH. Old hag, Kikuko, you think you're the only one who knows how to use SAO tactics? Today, I'll show you what real SAO tactics are. You think concentrated attacks can't break through your Jengar's defensive synergy? Then try this thunderbolt. Crackling sounds, thunder roared. At Mu Chen's summons, bolts of lightning crashed down, striking Kikuko again. Ha ha ha. Useless. Your thunderbolt can't break through my Jengar's defense. If Kikuko had previously been afraid of Pikachu's thunderbolt, now seeing her Jengar block it, the old hag wasn't so panicked. Bomb away. Bomb away as much as you want. I want to see if your lightning runs out first, or if my Jengar gives up first. Even if given the chance, I might not even need to retreat. Thunderbolt was indeed incredibly powerful, but with 6 Elite 4 level Jengar, it wasn't unstoppable. However, Akiko didn't notice that this thunderbolt was different from the previous 2. Boom. Boom. Bolts of lightning struck. Following the same pattern, the Jengar army joined forces again, unleashing countless shadow balls. Everything was as before, everything was under Akiko's control. But just then, crackling, the lightning about to collide with the shadow balls suddenly split in 2. One part continued to strike the shadow balls, while the other part suddenly changed direction, striking directly down at the Jengar army that had already attacked. What? How is this possible? Seeing the strange phenomenon in the sky, the previously confident Akiko was dumbfounded. What was going on? How could this be? A move that had already been used could change direction? Akiko was astonished, while the Jengar army was in dire straits. Caught completely off guard, the 3 Jengar standing at the front of the formation were instantly struck. The lightning entered their bodies, and the 3 Jengar, already struck once, couldn't withstand it, beginning to convulse. Clearly, these 3 Elite 4 level Jengar had completely lost their ability to fight. Death seemed imminent, they were close. Ah! Damn it! Retreat! Retreat now! Filled with resentment, Akiko dared not delay any longer in the face of the ferocious Pikachu. This sudden attack had cost her 3 Jengar. Could the remaining 3 withstand the next lightning strike? Akiko had deep doubts. She knew very well that if she couldn't withstand the next lightning strike, only one outcome awaited her, annihilation. As a veteran Elite 4 member of the League, having enjoyed wealth and luxury, how could Akiko willingly die on this deserted island? At this moment, Akiko's heart was filled with regret. Why had she been so careless? Why had she been so hasty? She could have brought more subordinates to wear down Pikachu. But because of her overconfidence, Kikuko didn't bring anyone on this trip to the island. Of course, it's not that she brought no one. The helicopter pilot who was killed in the explosion was the only subordinate Kikuko brought. However, He was just cannon fodder. Kikuko didn't care about the death of cannon fodder. But now, Kikuko found that she seemed to be about to become cannon fodder herself. This was something she really couldn't accept. Run. She had to run. This old woman absolutely didn't want to experience the thrill of being caught off guard. Pikachu, run? Where the hell are you going? Take another thunderbolt from me. As the thunderbolts continued to be used, the dark clouds became thinner and thinner. Seeing the thin clouds, Mu Chen also panicked. Chapter 383. Is Kikuko going to retaliate? Crackling and popping, the rolling thunder struck again. This time, facing Mu Chen's lightning, Kikuko lost her previous composure. 3 Jengar had already perished. With only the remaining 3, she had no confidence in blocking this bolt of lightning. Moreover, who knew if this Pikachu would pull off another one of its previous crazy moves? Kikuko felt her old heart couldn't take it. Cover me. Retreat. At this moment, Kikuko was prepared to sacrifice 1 or 2 to save the king. Even if it meant sacrificing 1 or 2 more, she absolutely couldn't continue. Run. Only by running could she have a chance to fight back. Otherwise, death awaited her. Eehehe. Faced with a rolling thunder, the remaining 3 Jengar were also panicked. At this moment, apart from the strongest Jengar in Kikuko's possession, the other 2 were also in poor condition. If they were struck by this thing again, they truly couldn't withstand it. However, facing the straight-down lightning, the 3 Jengar, unable to dodge, could only choose to fight back. At this moment, their hearts were breaking. Damn it! Thunderbolt is supposed to be a random, unpredictable attack, right? Why does it become so precise in your hands? Who can stand this? Boom. 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 Eehee. A bolt of lightning struck. Although Jengar's shadow ball blocked most of it this time, a small portion still struck the foremost Jengar. A painful scream rang out again. Agatha's Jengar army had lost 1 member. Now, Agatha only had 2 Jengar left. Pikachu, looking at the gradually clearing sky, Mu Chen unleashed his final thunderbolt. Victory or defeat, it all depended on this one. At this moment, as time continued to pass, under the pressure of the spell, Mu Chen's stamina was constantly being depleted. He knew he couldn't hold on much longer. The battle had to end as soon as possible. Ah! Jengar! Block it! Block it for me! Seeing Pikachu continue using thunder without any regard for reason, Akiko was almost going crazy. Damn it! Is this never going to end? Can't we take a break? Aren't you tired of striking like this? Is this really Pikachu? Fast, high special attack. I can tolerate these old women. But why, after being under the spell for so long, are you still acting like nothing happened? Eehee, Jengar knew this was the last thunder attack. If it blocked it, it could survive. Couldn't block it? 4 were already down, they weren't blind. No one wanted to be the last one left. However, 6 Jengar could block it, 3 could block part of it. 2? Only a small portion was blocked. Eehee, a pitiful scream rang out. As the lightning dissipated, another of Akiko's Jengar fell. At this moment, only 1 Jengar remained, convulsing violently. This was also the strongest of Jengar's minions. Relying on its robust physique, Jengar withstood the thunderbolt attack. However, its condition was severely compromised. Having already used a spell, and now hit by a thunderbolt, Jengar was completely exhausted. Pikachu, with Jengar in such poor condition, Mu Chen was also nearly too weak to even stand. Damn it! How could it be so resilient? Looking at the last Jengar standing proudly, Mu Chen's heart sank. After all that thunderbolt attack, there was still 1 alive? How was he going to deal with this? He couldn't use any special attack moves. Not even physical attacks were an option for him. Jengar was immune to normal and fighting type moves. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. You wretched brat. You wretched Pikachu. You'd better be prepared to pay the price for my wrath. The dark clouds completely dissipated, and the sky returned to clarity. Seeing Pikachu panting heavily, the pained Akiko regained her spirits. Now, it seems like it's time for this old lady to retaliate, isn't it? This Pikachu is clearly finished. Pika, damn it. You old hag, don't give me a chance. Hearing Akiko's laughter, Mu Chen couldn't deny being angry. However, he was truly exhausted. Jengar, use Shadow Ball and blast that brat to death. With morale boosted, Akiko regained her previous aloof demeanor. Without hesitation, with a wave of her withered right hand, Akiko gave Jengar the attack command. He don't worry. Today, none of them will escape. Having been hit hard by thunder, Jengar was also filled with rage. Now, it was time for it to vent its anger. Damn it. Don't underestimate me. Melodic, use water pulse. Gardevoir, use psychic. Shrimp, use leech seed. Pikachu was already low on strength, and Pidgeotto and Frostless were also down. Facing Agatha's attack, Ash fearlessly chose to counterattack. Although Melodic, Gardevoir, and Shrimp weren't in good shape either, 3 against 1 shouldn't be at a disadvantage, right? I know, Shanna, Shrimp, you damn rat, you're done for, aren't you? Today, let us sisters save you. Previously, Melodic and the other old ladies couldn't intervene due to the thunder attack. Now that the thunder had dissipated, only one enemy remained. Under Ash's command, these old ladies stepped forward one by one. Yellow-skinned rat, today we'll show you that we sisters aren't easy to bully. Hehe. You guys are too weak, you're no match for me at all. Against Pikachu, Jengar focused on stalling. Against Melodic and the other old ladies, Jengar decided to show what it meant to be a champion-level being. As for the 5 Jengars that had been defeated earlier, although they were also champion level, there are different levels of champions. In the eyes of this most powerful Jengar, those defeated guys were just little brothers who had just stepped into the champion realm. True champions possess the ability to crush these ordinary Pokémon. Pika Pika, attack. Attack as hard as you want. Seeing Jengar and Agatha Christie focusing all their attention on his old ladies, Mu Chen was overjoyed. He couldn't use special attack anymore, but he could still use physical attacks to some extent. Jengar shouldn't be afraid of his physical attacks, but what about Agatha Christie? This old woman was just a human, she wasn't immune to physical attacks. HMPH. Grandma Kikuko, prepare to face the storm. Chapter 384 Juicy? Death? No. Jengar. Help me. Akiko had been focusing all her attention on Melodic and the other 2 Pokémon. She knew that if she defeated those 3, she would achieve final victory. Although the price of this victory would be heavy, she would quickly become stronger after obtaining Pikachu. But just as Akiko was contemplating the future, a golden figure suddenly pounced on her. Looking closely, she recognized it as none other than Pikachu. Seeing that Pikachu could actually attack, Akiko panicked completely. She was just an old woman. Without the protection of her Pokémon, how could she defend herself against Pikachu's attack? In a panic, Akiko abandoned her attack on Melodic and the other Pokémon, frantically calling for Jengar to turn back and protect her. However, no matter how fast Jengar was, it couldn't outrun Machi's quick attack. Pikachu, just die. With his last ounce of strength, Mu Chen launched this desperate attack. Without any hesitation, he pounced in front of Kiku, his lightning-shaped tail flashing with metallic light. This was a physical attack that Mu Chen rarely used, Iron Tail. As his strength increased and his special attack moves became more diverse, Mu Chen rarely used this move as a means of attack. However, at this moment, facing the old woman Kiku, it was Mu Chen's best choice. No, Kiku screamed in despair as the Iron Tail lashed out at her head. But bang, like smashing a watermelon, her brain splattered. A generation of Elite Four members, the oldest surviving Elite Four member in the league, Kiku, was dead. Jengar was naturally shocked by its master's death. However, because of Kiku's earlier call and because it was distracted by rescuing Kiku, Jengar had ignored the combined attack from the old women behind it. Normally, Jengar could simply stand still and ignore the attacks of these old women. But, at this moment, Jengar had used a spell that halved its stamina and had also been hit by a thunderbolt. Already at its limit, it was now facing the combined, hateful attacks of these old women. Jengar was caught off guard. Having just let out a mournful cry for its master's death, Jengar quickly transformed that cry into a sound of its own suffering. Well done. Melodic, Gardevoir, and Misty, keep it up. Seeing the 3 old women successfully suppress Jengar, Ash was naturally overjoyed. He didn't care about Agatha's death, he was filled with hatred for this treacherous old woman. Although this simpleton was rather naive, he wasn't truly stupid. If someone wants to kill you, can you just stand by and do nothing? Besides, Agatha wasn't the first opponent Ash had killed. At most, this old woman's identity was a bit special. Killing Agatha was no problem for Ash. Now, all Ash needed to do was kill this Jengar and eliminate the last threat. As for what happens if the League asks later? Just say you don't know. Hey. You want me dead? Then let's die together. With its master dead and itself cornered, seeing no hope of survival, Jengar chose to perish together with its master. As for how it did this? Well, it used a unique Pokémon move, Explosion. Oh no. Melodic, retreat. Pikachu, run. Ash panicked when he saw Jengar's explosion about to launch. This Jengar was a champion-level Pokémon. Even though it was already severely injured, the power of its explosion was still considerable. Boom. However, although Ash reacted quickly, Jengar's move was even faster. With this desperate attack, a small mushroom cloud slowly rose. Clearly, the explosive power was astonishing. Have you found out what happened outside? The violent tremors returned, and Giovanni's patience began to wane. Damn it! How many people have come to this island? Who exactly are these people? Why are they fighting amongst themselves? Due to lack of intelligence, Giovanni is practically blind. He only knows that Ash brought Pikachu, along with other powerful trainers. Initially, Giovanni planned to ignore it, sealing off the valley and patiently waiting for Mewtwo to revive. But unexpectedly, a deafening explosion suddenly erupted outside. Then came continuous thunder and lightning. The violent explosion caused the valley where Giovanni was located to shake. Watching Mewtwo, submerged in nutrient solution, tremble with the vibrations, Giovanni panicked. These damned guys. They came to my turf, and I haven't even bothered them, and they're still not done? If they want to fight, why don't they go somewhere else? Giovanni swears he's never been so angry. Boss, the explosion outside is too intense, the brothers can't get close. How could Giovanni, alarmed by such a violent explosion, not send people to investigate? Unfortunately, he was surrounded by a bunch of useless people. The only useful one, Random, had died under mysterious circumstances. Useless. All of you are useless. Get out of here. Pass on my order to continue sealing off the valley. If any enemies approach the valley, report to me immediately. With such incompetent subordinates, Giovanni could only sigh helplessly. However, it was precisely because of this lack of intelligence that Giovanni was unaware that this was the best opportunity to capture Pikachu. Not to mention a champion-level being like Random, he didn't even need these useless elites to lift a finger. At this moment, he could easily send out any researcher to bring back the Pikachu that had been knocked unconscious by the explosion. Because of Jengar's fatal blast, Ash and Pikachu were caught off guard and naturally suffered great damage. Ash, with his maxed-out special defense, was alright, only suffering some minor injuries. But Mu Chen, who was too close, suffered greatly. You see, Mu Chen had rushed over to assassinate Agatha earlier. Agatha is dead, and Mu Chen, whose strength is constantly draining, has also lost the ability to move. The Jengar, because it was rushing to rescue Agatha, was actually quite close to Mu Chen due to its rapid movement. It's only fair to say Mu Chen was incredibly lucky to survive the massive explosion. As for Melodic and the other women, Gardevoir and Lady Gaga were in the best condition at this moment. These two women were basically unharmed. This was only because Melodic, with its massive body, absorbed all the damage. Now, Melodic's condition wasn't much better than Pikachu's. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 385 Hidden Quest Rewards. Pikachu, damn it, I'm going to die, I'm going to die. After a fierce battle, he finally defeated Agatha. Although Mu Chen felt extremely satisfied, the physical exhaustion had pushed him to his limit. At this moment, Mu Chen's only consolation was that with Jengar's death, the power of the spell was beginning to fade. Otherwise, he really couldn't guarantee that he wouldn't have been whipped to death by that spell. Now that the spell's power was gone and Mu Chen's stamina was greatly depleted, he naturally seized every opportunity to recover his strength. Although Agatha was dead and the hidden quest was completed, the random quest was still not completed. What did this mean? Mu Chen was perfectly aware of this. Obviously, there were still unknown dangers on this island. Only in this way would it show that the quest was not completed. Knowing this, how could Mu Chen not seize every opportunity to recover? System, give me the reward for the hidden quest. In his previous dazed state, Mu Chen had heard the notification that the hidden quest was completed, but he hadn't had the energy to pay attention to it at the time. Now, after a period of recovery, Mu Chen remembered this mission. This was the first hidden mission Mu Chen had completed. He was really looking forward to the reward. A powerful skill or a gene boost would surely propel him to new heights. Beep beep, hidden mission reward issued, please confirm. While the system was often incredibly unreliable, it was never stingy when it came to rewards. The moment Mu Chen requested it, the system's reward appeared before him. As expected, it was the happy spin wheel. Looking at this long-awaited wheel, Mu Chen was excited. Whether I take off or not depends on this. Without hesitation, Mu Chen confirmed the wheel was open. The reward was the same old 4, racial stats, skills, genes, and a question mark. For Mu Chen, what he needed most right now were skills and genes. Although the question mark represented infinite possibilities, only genes and skills could truly enhance his combat power. Considering the powerful enemies still lurking on the island, Mu Chen had to be cautious. However, reality often falls short of expectations. Pikachu, what the hell? You didn't show up when I needed you, and now you're showing up when I don't? Seeing the final pointer of the roulette wheel stop at the question mark, Mu Chen was speechless. This is a question mark. What can I possibly get? Ding ding, please confirm, host. The system voice sounded again, urging Mu Chen to claim this question mark reward. Confirm, what the hell? Anyway, I've already drawn it, can Mu Chen choose to return it? Looking at the pile of messy rewards, Mu Chen closed his eyes and selected confirm. Ding ding, congratulations to the host for drawing an electric ball, pseudo 1, what the hell? What the hell? Another one-time consumable? Hearing the reward he drew, Mu Chen was speechless. Holy crap! Does this have to be tortured like this? Even though the amplification of this electric ball is much stronger than that magnet, I can't afford this one-time consumable. Couldn't you have given me a genuine item? Mu Chen's mind was racing with frustration at this reward. Damn it! How many times have I completed this measly hidden quest? I almost lost my life. And this is the crap I get. Wait a minute. Something's not right. After a mental outburst, Mu Chen finally noticed something amiss. The pseudo after electric ball seems to have a 1 added to it. Having found the key, Mu Chen quickly checked the electric ball's description. Electric ball, pseudo 1, unusable. Collect electric balls, pseudo 2, pseudo 3, to synthesize an electric ball. Holy crap. Holy crap. This is a component for synthesizing a genuine item? Mu Chen wasn't stupid, he had extensive gaming experience from his previous life. One look, and he knew exactly what this thing was. This was a component for synthesizing a divine artifact. The thought that this thing was Pikachu's exclusive item, capable of doubling its special attack, made Mu Chen ecstatic. This thing was useless trash to others, but to him, it was a 100% boost to his exclusive artifact. Although this lottery didn't yield the immediate combat power item Mu Chen needed, he was extremely satisfied with his power balloon, pseudo 1. This thing was essential for his path to godhood. With his worries gone, Mu Chen naturally drifted off to sleep. Whatever, the enemies on the island hadn't appeared yet, his priority was to rest and recover. While Mu Chen rested, Ash was busy taking care of several severely injured Pokémon. Pidgeotto and Frostless were completely unable to fight, and if they didn't receive treatment soon, they would be finished. Melodic was also in bad shape. Although this old woman had that bug-like self-healing ability, the damage she had suffered was still too severe. Relying on its self-healing ability, Melodic's injuries could only be alleviated. At this point, while Melodic's injuries weren't fatal, they were definitely too much for it to fight. The only two capable fighters were Gardevoir and Sylveon. Although Ash was worried about this situation, he felt no urgency. Agatha was dead, Randall was dead, and there was nothing left on this deserted island, so what was there to fear? Now, Ash was waiting for Melodic to recover. Once she regained some strength, he could use Melodic to leave this place. As for Agatha's death, Ash was a simpleton, but he wasn't an idiot. He wouldn't say anything unless asked. Even if asked, he would claim ignorance. After all, she was dead, so they could find out for themselves. After a year of travel, Ash's mind had matured somewhat. How could Ash possibly completely trust the other Elite Four members after they had attacked him? A sense of caution was inevitable. Damn it. Damn it. Were you all raised on shit? Control it. We have to stabilize the nutrient tank. Just as Mu Chen and Xiao Zhi were resting, in a valley inside the island, Giovanni was roaring furiously at a group of scientists. Useless. All of them useless. Just a few external tremors, and Mutuo in the nutrient tank was showing signs of going out of control again? Giovanni had poured all his effort into this Mutuo. Now that Mutuo was out of control, he simply couldn't accept it. Chapter 386 The Awakening of Mutuo. Boss. No, the energy is unstable, it's about to get out of control, boss. The energy pulse is overflowing, it's about to exceed the machine's limit, what do we do? Boss, it's about to get out of control. Amidst the exclamations of the researchers, Giovanni's anger surged. Damn trainers, damn Ash, damn the League. If it weren't for you bunch of damned bastards running around my island causing chaos, how could the sleeping Mutuo have been awakened? Hearing those exclamations, Giovanni knew that Mutuo was about to wake up. Moreover, this time, the Mutuo that had awakened was clearly stronger than before. You must know, when Mutuo was created and controlled and hypnotized before, the energy overflow was not even half the size it is now. But now? All the equipment was already operating at full power and overload, yet there were still signs of it going out of control. What did this mean? Even a fool would know that Mutuo's strength had increased. Giovanni was naturally very happy that Mutuo's strength had increased. But that was definitely not at this critical moment. If Mutuo becomes stronger at this moment, it will only cause it to escape from his control. Mutuo is a psychic-type Pokémon. If this thing really escapes control, it will be difficult to catch it again. Mutuo is also a psychic-type Pokémon, and Giovanni used up all of Team Rocket's manpower and resources to capture just a single eyelash. Now, with the unfathomable strength of Mutuo, Giovanni doesn't believe that Team Rocket can recapture it. Even if we can't control it, we must inject the strongest sleeping potion immediately. Don't be afraid of hurting Mutuo. Letting it go is absolutely impossible. In this situation, Giovanni's choice is to take a gamble. He'll inject all the sleeping potion. He doesn't believe Mutuo can withstand it. As long as he can stabilize this wave and put Mutuo back into deep sleep, Giovanni will have time to regroup and completely control Mutuo. However, while Giovanni's plan was good, he didn't notice that Mutuo inside the nutrient tank had already slightly opened its eyes. Prepare to inject the hypnotic agent. Injecting the hypnotic agent, with Giovanni's command, a hypnotic agent powerful enough to wipe out an entire species was injected into the nutrient tank. But at that moment, a sudden change occurred. Humans, do you think you can control me like this? Suddenly, a cold voice echoed in everyone's minds. Who is it? Oh no. It's Mutuo. It's fully awake, damn it. Quick. Increase the injection speed of the hypnotic agent. Upon realizing that Mutuo had awakened, not only Giovanni panicked, but the researchers and Team Rocket elites on the island were also in a panic. How could they not know how terrifying this thing was? If it really lost control and attacked Team Rocket, then probably no one except Giovanni could stand a chance against it. Enough. Stop wasting your time. Humans, I have learned a lot from my interactions with you. Thank you for teaching me what cruelty is. As soon as the words fell, the nutrient tank trapping Mutuo shattered. Immediately, a terrifying pink energy wave emanated from Mutuo's body, striking the surrounding Team Rocket members. Ah, help, spare me. Help, boss. Save us. The spreading pink energy was Mutuo's psychic power. With a mere thought, Mutuo used psychic power to control all the Team Rocket members present. Of course, this wasn't absolute. With the power of Viridian protecting him, Giovanni could withstand this psychic attack. However, he could only withstand it because Giovanni's most powerful Pokémon, Beedrill, was still training in Viridian Forest. All Giovanni could do in the face of the out-of-control Mutuo was protect himself. As for the others, he couldn't help them. Mutuo, you were created by me, why did you betray me? Looking at Mutuo floating in midair, Giovanni was filled with resentment. This was a god he had created with countless hardships and sacrifices. Yet, the god had betrayed him. You call this betrayal? Then call it betrayal. It's true, my life was born from you. But I, Mutuo, will not accept anyone's command or control. Hearing Giovanni's rebuke, Mutuo shifted its gaze. Facing its former master, the cold Mutuo remained devoid of any emotion. It was as if it were merely talking to itself. Damn it, hearing Mutuo's words, Giovanni knew that things wouldn't end well today. Capture Mutuo? With his current strength, that was simply unrealistic. His trusted confidant, Giovanni, only brought one random, who had died under mysterious circumstances. These researchers, these elites, were nothing more than ants that Mewtwo could crush with a wave of its hand, completely useless. Even he himself, without Beedrill's help, would find it extremely difficult to protect himself against this terrifying Mewtwo. You don't need to do this. After all, I was created by you. So, I won't hurt you today. Now, leave immediately. Don't make me change my mind. Seeing Giovanni prepare for battle, Mewtwo coldly addressed him. At this moment, facing Giovanni, Mewtwo seemed like a high and mighty god, bestowing charity upon those lowly beings. Damn it. Just you wait, Mewtwo, I'll catch you again sooner or later. Although this charity hurt Giovanni's pride, the terrifying aura emanating from Mewtwo constantly warned him. At this moment, he was no match for Mewtwo. As a ruthless man, Giovanni was certainly not a fool. Even though his heart was filled with resentment, Giovanni could only grit his teeth and admit defeat. After uttering a few polite words, Giovanni climbed into the helicopter in the valley base and left the island that had caused him so much pain without looking back. Now, prepare to face the judgment of the gods. Seeing Giovanni leave, Mewtwo coldly shifted its gaze back to the Team Rocket members it controlled. Others may not know, but Mewtwo is acutely aware of its current state. Although Mewtwo appears invincible, it is actually extremely weak. If it were to truly fight Giovanni, who possesses the power of Viridian, the outcome would be uncertain. This is why Mewtwo preferred to expend a great deal of energy to scare Giovanni away. Mewtwo also needs time to recover. The departed Giovanni no longer attracts Mewtwo's attention, and these mere creatures it controls are no longer a threat. However, relying on its powerful psychic abilities, Mewtwo vaguely senses that there is another entity on this island that might pose a threat. Gazing into the distance, Mewtwo's eyes are icy cold. Chapter 387 Mewtwo attacks. Boom. 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 Deafening explosions rang out, startling Mu Chen and Xiao Zhi, who were fast asleep. Pikachu, what the hell? What's going on? I was sleeping so soundly. Having only rested for one night, Mu Chen was extremely unhappy to be awakened by the explosions. Because of the previous battle's immense exertion, even after a night's rest, Mu Chen hadn't fully recovered. He was at least another day away from his peak condition. But unexpectedly, danger from within the island appeared so quickly. Xiao Zhi was completely bewildered by the explosions. But Mu Chen knew. This explosion must be the danger mentioned in the random mission. Damn it, could it have been a day later? Mu Chen was speechless at the speed of this danger's arrival. Damn it, even a day later, let me fully recover. In such a hurry, are you rushing to be reborn? Pikachu. Did something happen over there? Could there be enemies? Looking in the direction of the explosion, Ash prepared for battle. First random, then Agatha. Who knows who it will be this time? Even if this unlucky kid is naive, he has grown after experiencing so much. Pika, what happened? Whatever happened, I don't care. Although he knew that the explosion was definitely the source of danger on the island, Mu Chen had no interest in finding out. Whatever, as long as it doesn't cause trouble. Once Melodic recovers, I'll make a run for it. Alice, things in this world often don't go as planned. The more you don't want something, the more likely it is to happen to you. Pikachu. Look, isn't something flying over here? As the old saying goes, the higher you stand, the farther you see. Ash was several levels above Mu Chen on the ground, and naturally, he was the first to spot the figure that vaguely appeared in the sky in the direction of the explosion. Pikachu, holy crap. It's really here? Seriously? Ash, is your mouth blessed? Hearing Ash's question, Mu Chen was speechless. Since this guy had already seen it, it was no surprise that the unknown entity had come looking for him. Although he didn't want to fight, Mu Chen wasn't the type to sit idly by when the enemy came knocking. Come on, bring it on. I'll fight you to the death. At this moment, Mu Chen was prepared to fight to the death. But when he saw the figure rapidly approaching on the horizon, his courage vanished rapidly. Pikachu, holy crap. System, are you trying to kill me? Mu Chen wasn't worried about other opponents. But this one, Mu Chen was genuinely terrified. Mewtwo. This is Mewtwo. The thought of being utterly defeated by this Mewtwo made cold sweat pour uncontrollably down Mu Chen's forehead. Damn it, what did I do to deserve this? Why are you acting like this? I didn't expect it to be you on this island. Mu Chen was surprised to see Mewtwo, and Mewtwo was equally surprised to see Mu Chen. Mewtwo had a deep impression of this Pikachu. Although this Pikachu was no match for it back then, it was one of the very few that could fight it for several rounds. And most importantly, at that time, Mewtwo didn't feel any threat from this Pikachu. But now, Mewtwo could clearly feel that this Pikachu could pose some threat. Although the threat wasn't strong, it was enough to make Mewtwo take notice. You see, Mewtwo's strength had greatly improved compared to before. Pika Pika, that's right. It's me. What do you want? Aren't you scared of me? If you're scared, then get lost. The newcomer was Mewtwo. And Mu Chen was filled with 1,000 curses. Hey, little mouse, you're quite interesting. Want me to leave? Fine, defeat me. Although Mewtwo wasn't at its best, this Pikachu wasn't Giovanni either. Mewtwo wasn't confident against Giovanni, but against Pikachu? Having just gained its freedom, Mewtwo was itching for a fight. Pika Pika, so much talk, but it still had to fight, right? Zzzzzzz. Knowing he couldn't scare Mewtwo away, Mu Chen didn't hesitate and unleashed a thunderbolt at the Mewtwo floating in midair, striking a pose. Since the fight was inevitable anyway, there was no point in wasting time talking, it was better to strike first. Mewtwo showed a slight surprise at Mu Chen's attack. This little thing actually dared to attack it first? Mewtwo's eyes narrowed, and a burst of psychic energy erupted, blasting towards Mu Chen's thunderbolt. Boom, the booming sound of an explosion rang out. Pika Pika, I'm out of here. Even at his peak, Mu Chen wasn't a match for Mewtwo, let alone now that he hadn't fully recovered. The instant he unleashed Thunderbolt, Mu Chen activated Quick Attack. Boom, sure enough. Just as he dodged, a violent explosion erupted from where Mu Chen had stood. Clearly, his Thunderbolt was no match for Mewtwo. Now, it's my turn to attack. Mewtwo wasn't surprised that Pikachu could dodge his attack. With a simple, almost narrative-like statement, Mewtwo raised his right hand. He pointed his right hand at the air. Immediately, a psychic-type attack with incredible speed blasted towards Mu Chen. Pikachu, holy crap! That's Psychic Beam? Seeing Mewtwo's attack, Mu Chen immediately recognized it. It was his Mother Gardevoir's signature Psychic Beam. But the problem was, they were both Psychic-type Pokémon, so why was there such a huge difference between them? Compared to Mewtwo's Psychic Beam, Gardevoir's was a completely watered-down version. They weren't even in the same league. Without a second thought, Mu Chen activated Quick Attack again, barely dodging Mewtwo's Psychic Beam attack. This is getting interesting. Seeing Pikachu dodge its attack again, Mewtwo finally became interested. No wonder it could make him feel a slight threat. Putting everything else aside, its speed was truly astonishing. Pikachu, interesting? You think you're so great. Compared to the effortless Mewtwo in midair, Mu Chen was in a much worse state. He could avoid Mewtwo's direct attack, but he couldn't avoid the aftershocks of the explosion. Chapter 388 Showdown with Mewtwo. Pikachu, don't back down. We'll retaliate with Electric Ball. Although he didn't understand why Mewtwo had suddenly appeared and attacked him without warning, Ash wasn't about to stand idly by while the enemy launched their attack. Retaliation was inevitable. Pikachu, retaliate? Of course I know I have to retaliate. Mu Chen didn't know why Mewtwo was here. But Mu Chen knew that this was the crisis mentioned in his random mission. To overcome this crisis, there was only one way: battle. After the first 2 rounds of fighting, Mu Chen realized that while Mewtwo's attack power was formidable, it wasn't enough to make him despair. In fact, it hadn't even used its most terrifying psychic control. Although Mu Chen didn't know why, this was indeed an opportunity for him. Without hesitation, he activated High Speed Boost and Charge. After a night of recovery, although Mu Chen wasn't back to his best condition, firing a black electric ball shouldn't be a problem. Speed is meaningless to me. Seeing Pikachu running around, Mewtwo didn't notice anything amiss. As if talking to itself, it casually uttered this, then raised its right hand again. A pink energy appeared. Immediately, this pink energy, gathered in front of Mewtwo, shot towards the still-running Pikachu. Pika Pika, that move again? Mewtwo's move was the same tracking illusion technique that Mu Chen had used against it at the Viridian Gym normally. With this move, speed is truly meaningless. No matter how fast you are, it will eventually run out of energy, right? Once it runs out of energy and its speed decreases, will this tracking illusion technique tolerate it? It will definitely bombard the target fiercely. To be honest, Mu Chen was indeed afraid of this move before, but now. HMPH. Do you think I'm still that yellow-skinned rat from back then? I'm incredibly powerful now. With just the added speed, Mewtwo's illusory technique couldn't catch up to him. Mu Chen knew that as long as he activated quick attack, he could instantly leave it in the dust. Because of this, Mu Chen didn't notice the illusory technique chasing him erratically. Go ahead and chase me, I'll unleash my full power once I've recharged. However, reality was harsh. Mu Chen's plan was beautiful, but the cruel reality slapped him hard in the face. Mu Chen had improved, so how could Mewtwo not have? The reason it didn't use its signature psychic power to control Mu Chen was simply because Mewtwo was currently expending too much energy and needed time to recover. Previously, to repel Giovanni, Mewtwo had unleashed its maximum energy without reservation. Giovanni was indeed frightened, but Mewtwo's energy expenditure was definitely not small. Against Pikachu, Mewtwo originally thought it wouldn't expend much energy to defeat it. After all, this guy only posed a slight threat. Mewtwo came simply to eliminate this potential threat beforehand. At this moment, Pikachu was still not a threat to Mewtwo. However, as the battle progressed, Mewtwo realized that things weren't as simple as it had thought. This Pikachu wasn't as easy to deal with as it had imagined. In fact, it was much faster than before. Its psychic spell couldn't catch up with Pikachu at all. Mewtwo wasn't a Pokemon that enjoyed plans going against its expectations. What it craved was the thrill of having everything under control. Successfully escaping Team Rocket, successfully scaring away Giovanni, successfully killing those despicable scum, all of this was within Mewtwo's plan. Mewtwo was very satisfied with its masterpiece. But this Pikachu before it made Mewtwo feel like things were slipping out of its control. This feeling was very unpleasant. It's been a while. You've certainly impressed me. No wonder you made me feel threatened. Your progress is significant. But that's all. Having broken free from Team Rocket's control and learned everything about this world through them, Mewtwo now knew its own level of power. It was a god. Now, a Pikachu not only made it feel threatened but could even fight it. Mewtwo wouldn't stand for it. How could a god like itself be held back by a Pikachu? Although Mewtwo's energy was also nearly depleted, it still chose to go all out. As soon as it finished speaking, Mewtwo raised its left hand, which it hadn't raised before. A pink energy shot out from Mewtwo's raised left hand, striking the still-running Pikachu. Although this energy wasn't as violent as Psychic, its speed and unpredictability far surpassed the straightforward attack of Psychic. Pikachu, still running, and with his charge skill just finished, Mu Chen suddenly felt his body lose control. Holy crap! Here it comes. In that instant, Mu Chen knew why he'd lost control. Mewtwo's psychic attack had finally been used. Damn it! Didn't you say you wouldn't use this move? Why did you use it again? Being suddenly controlled by psychic was a lie for Mu Chen. Before, this thing never used it. I thought you weren't planning on using this lousy move. But HMPH. If you had used it earlier, I might have had some pressure. But now, it's too late. Before Mu Chen finished charging, he was controlled by psychic and had no way to break free. After all, his special attack stat was far inferior to Mewtwo's. But after the charge, Mu Chen's special attack stat instantly doubled. After doubling, it wouldn't be so easy for Mewtwo to control him. Pikachu, controlled in mid-air by psychic power, with a psychic spell about to strike, Mu Chen erupted. A loud cry rang out from his mouth. Zzzzz. Electricity leaped and surged across his cheeks. Unable to use electric ball in this situation, he'd unleash a super thunderbolt. With a thought, a terrifying surge of electricity shot from Mu Chen's cheeks, slamming into the psychic control that was holding him. Snap! A crisp sound rang out, and Mewtwo's psychic control over Pikachu shattered. Chapter 389 Mu Chen's Conjecture. How is this possible? Looking at the 100,000 volts disappearing into the sky, Mewtwo's previously expressionless face finally showed a hint of surprise. This Pikachu actually broke free from its psychic control, even shattering the psychic spell, and then blasted that 100,000 volts at it? This was the first time Mewtwo had used instant transmission to dodge an opponent's attack. This was simply unbelievable to Mewtwo, although it was currently in poor condition. But I am a god. A god, actually forced back by a Pikachu? Unfortunately, the facts were undeniable, and even if Mewtwo couldn't believe it, it could only face it. Pikachu, Compared to Mewtwo's astonishment, Mu Chen was helpless. Damn it. This is too unfair. This is my ultimate move. You just dodge it like that? Your attack is super strong, and it even tracks me. I can tolerate that. Your psychic power is insane, controlling me in various ways. I can tolerate that too. You can even use instant teleport to dodge attacks instantly? I can't stand it. How am I supposed to fight this? Facing Mewtwo, Mu Chen felt powerless. He had already used Charge, and Thunderbolt hadn't hit his opponent. Now, facing this terrifying Mewtwo, Mu Chen didn't have many ways to retaliate. If this guy used Psychic Control again, Mu Chen wouldn't even have a chance to break free. However, Mu Chen didn't know that Mewtwo had no intention of continuing the battle. Its Psychic Control had been broken, and Illusion was no match for Pikachu's Thunderbolt. In fact, it had even been forced back by Pikachu. At this moment, Mewtwo was already considering retreating. In its current poor condition, it might even lose to Pikachu. After all, Pikachu had a trainer following it. Thinking about the pathetic fate of being captured by this trainer if it lost, how could Mewtwo continue to fight? Mewtwo probably already knew the limits of Pikachu. Once it recovers, it can easily crush this creature. There's no rush now. Your strength does exceed my expectations. However, that's all. Now, I have no interest in you anymore. When we meet again, I hope you won't disappoint me. Otherwise, I will kill you. Having once followed Giovanni, Mewtwo naturally learned all of his tricks. At least, it mastered the art of leaving a retreating speech flawlessly. This Pikachu had already made Mewtwo feel threatened. Its progress had exceeded Mewtwo's expectations. Mewtwo had long harbored murderous intent towards Pikachu. However, given its current poor condition, Mewtwo could only choose to endure for now and let this Pikachu go. However, it didn't know that if it continued its attack, it would easily crush Mu Chen. Pika, holy crap. It's leaving already? Who the hell are you trying to scare? Next time? Next time I'll electrocute you. Seeing Mewtwo disappear into thin air after uttering a single sentence, Mu Chen breathed a sigh of relief. Damn it. Finally gone. If that bastard had continued attacking, how the hell would I have defended myself? Mu Chen completely disregarded Mewtwo's parting threat. Damn it, my improvement speed is absolutely beyond your imagination. You're incredibly powerful now, but once I continue to grow stronger, when we meet again, it'll be a different story. This battle also instilled strong confidence in Mu Chen. He could withstand Mewtwo. Even its psychic control wasn't insurmountable. When they met again, his strength would undoubtedly have increased. Then, HMPH. Great. Pikachu. We won. Ash was naturally overjoyed at defeating Mewtwo. Even now, this simpleton still didn't understand why Mewtwo was here and why it attacked Pikachu. However, that didn't matter. The final result was that he won, wasn't it? Clearly, Ash, that idiot, is also a winner-takes-all. Pikachu, what's with all the excitement? Looking at the excited Ash, Mu Chen was speechless. Did you even consider why Mewtwo would appear on this Team Rocket-owned island? Combining this with a previous explosion, Mu Chen had a rough guess about Mewtwo's appearance. There were only two possibilities. Either Mewtwo was captured by Team Rocket, and then it broke free and escaped. However, this possibility was low. Only by facing Mewtwo could one know just how terrifying it was. Try to capture it? Damn. Not that I look down on Team Rocket, but do you even have the strength? Eliminating this possibility, only one last possibility remained. Mewtwo's trainer, Giovanni. He was a member of Team Rocket. Perhaps even the leader of Team Rocket. In his previous life, Mu Chen hadn't watched the anime, and he only played with Pokémon casually. He had no deep impression of the plot. That's why he didn't know that Giovanni was the leader of Team Rocket. However, through this attack by Mewtwo, Mu Chen had a vague guess in his mind. Otherwise, how could Mewtwo be here? As for the previous explosion? That's simple. Mewtwo is now clearly free. Obviously, he escaped Giovanni's control by relying on his powerful abilities. It's just that he doesn't know if Giovanni is still here. If he is. Thinking of this, Mu Chen got excited. Mu Chen had absolutely no goodwill towards Team Rocket. If he could take this opportunity to kill the leader of Team Rocket, Mu Chen wouldn't refuse. However, when he brought Ash, that idiot, to the valley where the explosion occurred, all he saw was a pile of elite corpses wearing Team Rocket uniforms. The Giovanni he was thinking of wasn't there. Pikachu, it seems my guess was right. This Giovanni definitely has something to do with Team Rocket, and he might even be the leader of Team Rocket. Haha. That's great. Pikachu, we can finish our mission and go home. Unlike Mu Chen, Ash was excited to see the corpses of Team Rocket members scattered on the ground. His mission this time was to investigate the possibility of Team Rocket's existence on this island. Now, he had thoroughly investigated Team Rocket's background. Chapter 390 Main Quest 2. Ash, you've worked hard. After several days of rest, Melodic finally recovered. As soon as Melodic recovered, Mu Chen and Ash left the island without hesitation. They returned to Kanto, even bringing news of the destruction of Team Rocket's branch. Lance, who welcomed Ash, was very satisfied. This guy, as expected of the henchman he had chosen, was quite useful. As for why it was said that Team Rocket's branch was destroyed, that was, of course, something Mu Chen had instructed Ash on the way. Mu Chen wouldn't let Ash know about his human form. However, communication through writing and drawing was still possible. Ash was incredibly carefree. Pikachu's ability to write only meant his starter Pokémon was smarter than others, without considering much else. Having received Mu Chen's instructions, Ash naturally wouldn't mention Mewtwo. Agatha? Mu Chen didn't even need to remind him about that. Ash wasn't stupid. For the League, this is what I should do. Having accepted Lance's praise, Ash's suspicion of these Elite Four members lessened somewhat. I suppose among these Elite Four members, only Agatha is a scoundrel, right? The others are quite friendly. Pikachu, Mu Chen had absolutely no interest in Ash's handover to Lance. At this moment, his mind was still replaying the rewards and quests he had received earlier. Leaving the deserted island, Mu Chen naturally received a random reward. This time, the unknown Wheel of Fortune wasn't as generous as the last one. A mere 30 base stat points were enough to completely slap Mu Chen aside. Mu Chen was extremely dissatisfied with this. Even 50 points would have been better. Now Mu Chen's base stats reached 525, reaching the level of the starter Pokémon Charizard. But this wasn't enough for Mu Chen. I'm Pikachu. How can you compare me to those weaklings? At least get it to 600. It looks good no matter what. If not, 666 is acceptable too. Unfortunately, the reward had already been issued, and Mu Chen's complaints were useless. Having received the reward, Mu Chen thought everything was fine. But unexpectedly, just as he was about to relax and return to the Kanto continent with Xiozhi, the system's electronic voice sounded in his mind again. Beep beep, congratulations host, system upgrade complete, random access mode upgraded, original world line completely changed. What? You're congratulating me? Congratulations my ass, can't I have a few days of peace and quiet? Having just gone through a series of battles, Mu Chen genuinely wanted to relax for a few days. But unexpectedly, at this moment, the system upgrade was complete. Ding ding, main quest path of Pikachu 2 is now open. Young man, you're already incredibly strong. Stopping weaklings, isn't it boring? Lacking challenge? Beings like Mewtwo are your real opponents. So, young man, keep going. Quest requirements, accompany Ash on his new journey and conquer your rivals. Of course, while conquering your rivals, you also need to consider Ash's future. Happiness shouldn't be enjoyed alone, right? You've already won over Misty. So, in the next year, you must help Ash find a partner. Quest reward, high-level Pikachu. Failure penalty, annihilation. Need I say more? You understand, holy crap. This is what made Mu Chen so conflicted. He wasn't surprised that main quest 2 was open. But this intrusion upgrade, this change in the original timeline, what did that mean? Was the plot completely disrupted? Okay, so be it. I don't know the original plot anyway. But the problem is, what the hell is this main quest? Weren't we supposed to be leveling up and crushing weaker opponents? Why the hell do I have to find a partner for that idiot Ash? Are you kidding me? Does that idiot even know what woman means? Does he know what a little sister is? Does he know what a full stomach leads to lust means? Does he know what humming and hawing means? This idiot's head is only filled with fighting. This main quest seems infinitely harder than the previous ones, in Mu Chen's eyes. This is unbelievable. I'm not capable of this at all. But the quest has already been issued. Now, perched on Ash's shoulder, Mu Chen has no interest in the other girls. In his eyes, besides Misty, and Lindsay and Lorelai whom he'd already taken advantage of, all the other girls are potential catches, all of whom could potentially be arranged for Ash. Damn it. If this doesn't work, I'll go find Gary. That guy has so many girls, he's practically a pimp. I'll see if I can get one from him first, then I'll finish this damn mission before worrying about anything else. At this point, Mu Chen was already considering using force. I'll just unleash an electromagnetic wave and make it a fait accompli. I wonder if that counts as completing the mission. Mu Chen knew that this mission didn't involve any league challenges, so the difficulty lay with that idiot Ash. If that idiot could understand, he could complete the mission in a day. But if that idiot was uncooperative and stubbornly refused to understand, Mu Chen would have no choice but to drag him down with him. Pikachu. You've really worked hard, let's go back and rest. Ash, of course, had no idea what Mu Chen was thinking. After the handover, Ash took Pikachu back to his residence. As for the missing Agatha, who cared? If that old woman really disappeared, it would be a good thing for Lance and the others. There were plenty of other powerful individuals in the league who aspired to become Elite Four members. Even a newcomer is much easier to deal with than that old hag, Kikuko. Pikachu, Mu Chen didn't care what those people from Lancelot thought. As long as they didn't come looking for trouble, their scheming and backstabbing were none of his concern. Anyway, the second main quest had already been released, and Mu Chen knew that Ash, that idiot, would probably be going on his journey again soon. This suited his personality. If you were forced to stay in one place, that idiot would definitely break down. Once he was on his journey, he could let those people in the Kanto region do whatever they wanted. Mu Chen genuinely didn't care. At this moment, what Mu Chen cared about most was Misty, who came out to greet him. Seeing Misty's outstretched arms, Mu Chen excitedly rushed over. Damn it. My dear, I've missed you so much these past few days. You've finally decided to hug me. Chapter 391 Zyloxia misunderstood again. You little rascal. You better tell me honestly, have you been behaving well these past few days? Looking at the adorable Pikachu nestled in her arms, Zyloxia, her face slightly flushed, interrogated him. Before, Zyloxia hadn't thought much of it, but now. This rascal can transform into a human. Initially, Zyloxia couldn't accept it. However, after Pikachu and Ash left, Zyloxia realized her heart was already filled with that rascal's image. She didn't care about Ash at all, but Pikachu's departure truly worried her, fearing he might suffer any harm or danger. Now that Pikachu is safely back, Zyloxia no longer restrained her feelings. Anyway, she had already planned to live with this rascal for life. Now that he could become human, wasn't that even better? And this little rascal as a human was so handsome. Of course, Zyloxia wouldn't directly express these girlish thoughts to that rascal Pikachu. What would happen if he knew? Zyloxia knew this guy's nature perfectly well. Right now, Zyloxia's plan was to accept this jerk head-on, to accept the fact that he could become human. But a necessary process was still needed. Zyloxia could tolerate him taking advantage of her when he was Pikachu, but becoming that handsome human guy required a process. Pika, good boy. Of course I'm good. Faced with Zyloxia's question, Mu Chen naturally nodded repeatedly. Just kidding, even if I wasn't good, would I tell a little girl like you? I'm not stupid, okay? Looking at Zyloxia, Mu Chen knew that the hurdle in this little girl's heart had been overcome. The rest was just a matter of time and the cultivation of feelings. HMPH. Tonight I'll come find you, and we'll have a good chat about life. Zyloxia, of course, didn't know what Pikachu was thinking. But she soon found out. Pikachu, that night, looking at the handsome guy who had reappeared in front of her, Zyloxia asked hesitantly. Although she had seen it twice already, it was still hard for Zyloxia to accept. Especially since this guy was like a wild man, covering his private parts with 2 leaves. Although this meant Zyloxia wouldn't be embarrassed, looking at his appearance, she could only suppress her laughter. This was too funny. Nonsense, who else would I be? Laugh if you want, don't hold it in. Seeing Zyloxia's constantly twitching lips, Mu Chen rolled his eyes helplessly. Damn it. Did I want to be like this? I'm Pikachu, not some skinny Tarzan. Unfortunately, he was naked as soon as he transformed, which left Mu Chen very helpless. In order to prevent this little girl from being kicked out again because of embarrassment, Mu Chen had no choice but to resort to this tactic. At least, The two of them could still communicate, right? Pikachu, when can you turn into a human? Are there any restrictions on transformation? Knowing that this was Pikachu, Xionoxia's fear gradually disappeared. Xionoxia had countless questions about Pikachu being able to transform into a human. Before, she was both afraid and shy. Now that the fear was gone and the shyness was under control, Xionoxia naturally wanted to seize the opportunity to ask her all sorts of questions. It's when you saw me transform for the first time, right? Also, I have a name. My name is Mu Chen, and when I become human, I won't say Pikachu anymore. Initially, Mu Chen wasn't used to being human and always mentioned Pikachu when he spoke. Now that he had finally controlled it, he naturally didn't want Xionoxia to keep bringing up his painful memories. Damn it. I'm human. Mu Chen? Is that your name? Hearing Mu Chen's reply, Xionoxia silently memorized the name. Is this really his name? Facing Mu Chen in his human form, Xionoxia felt both familiar and strange. Familiar, of course, because this was the Pikachu she hugged every day. Strange, simply because Xionoxia had never imagined that this guy could transform into a human. Alright. Honey, this isn't our first meeting, can you stop with the awkward small talk? I'm short on time. Having finally become human, Mu Chen really wanted to give this girl a proper hug in his human form. Who called you darling, you shameless bastard? Hearing Mu Chen shamelessly call her darling, Xionoxia's pretty face instantly flushed red. This shameless jerk. I'm going to rebuild our relationship from scratch. How can you be so blunt? You see, Xionoxia went through a huge internal struggle after learning that this guy could become human. Although Xionoxia compromised, choosing to stay and accept this jerk, but building a relationship is essential. By the way, you said you're short on time. After scolding Mu Chen, Xionoxia suddenly remembered another thing he had said earlier. What did short on time mean? Could it be? In an instant, Xionoxia's pretty face turned red. This jerk. Can't he even try to build a relationship with me? He was shameless as Pikachu, and even more shameless as a human. Because of Mu Chen's words, Xionoxia clearly misunderstood. Honey, I really don't have much time. Can we get straight to the point? Mu Chen, of course, had no idea what Xionoxia was thinking. Although he also wanted to force himself on her, 5 minutes really wasn't enough. Besides, half of it had already passed. At this moment, Mu Chen just wanted to tell Xionoxia what was on his mind and then hug this girl. Unfortunately, Xionoxia always rambled on about useless things. Get out. Get out of here. The misunderstanding had already arisen, and now hearing Mu Chen say this, the misunderstanding was instantly confirmed. Her blushing face turned even redder with anger. This bastard. I finally chose to accept you, and you didn't even bother with any transition or nurturing of feelings? You pervert. A pure pervert. What the hell? What did I say again? Xionoxia was furious, and Mu Chen was instantly dumbfounded. What the hell was going on? We hadn't even exchanged a few words. Why the hell was she kicking me out again? Unfortunately, faced with Xia's resolute attitude and the flying kick that landed on his head, Mu Chen left Xia's room in a state of grief and indignation. What the hell did I do to deserve this? Can't I even finish what I'm saying? My time is really limited. Looking at the door that Xia had slammed shut, Mu Chen felt like crying in boredom. Damn it, it's so cold. Time, hurry up. It's so late, and I'm not wearing any clothes. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 392 Master Zhi's Letter. Ash, you've really made a decision. Lance was shocked, Lorelei was shocked, and even the rough around the edges Sheba was shocked. What's going on? He'd only been champion for a couple of days, and now he's going on a trip? Normally, when someone first takes the champion's title, they'd be working incredibly hard, desperately trying to consolidate power and make their presence felt in front of the Kanto people. But what happened? This guy, he completed one mission and is immediately going on a trip? Is he looking down on the Kanto champion? Or is he just looking down on us? Or does he really look down on us? Everyone was baffled by Ash's decision. Yes, Elite Four members, I've made my decision. My current strength is still insufficient. This trip to the islands has taught me a lot, So I've decided to continue training. Although the trip to the islands was ultimately safe, Ash had thoroughly realized his problems. Besides Pikachu, he genuinely didn't have any Pokémon he could boast about. In the battle against Agatha Christie, if Pikachu hadn't desperately used its Thunderbolt attack, Ash would likely have been the one to lose. It was precisely because of this that Ash began considering continuing his journey on his way back to Kanto. As for why he made the decision to travel so soon after returning to Kanto, it could only be because of a letter. This letter was from a little girl he had helped when he was a child at a Pokémon summer camp. After seeing Ash become the Kanto champion on television, the little girl was immediately reminded of those times. It was because of this that the girl decided to contact Ash. And what a coincidence. After 2 days of communication, the two hit it off and decided to embark on a new journey as Pokémon trainers. The destination was easy to decide. The whole world was Ash's domain. Because the girl had a special affection for Ash, she had absolutely no objection to where they traveled. Finally, Ash stood before the Elite Four members and announced his upcoming journey. Alright, since that's the case, then we wish you continued strength. This is also a good thing for the Kanto region. Looking at Ash's determined eyes, Lance agreed to his request without further comment. Leave? Even better. It'll allow me to completely seize control of Kanto. Although Ash's departure meant Lance lost an opportunity to win him over, it wasn't a big deal for him. Just a henchman, it didn't matter. What Lance wanted was power. Without Ash, this unstable element who hadn't yet submitted, Lance's conquest of power would be even easier and faster. Of the 3 Elite Four members, if you had to say who least wanted Ash to leave, it would be Lorelei. Already suppressed by the powerful Lance, she finally had a potential ally, but before they could even establish any connection, he was going on a trip? Although Ash was going on a trip, his identity remained that of the Kanto champion. But the problem was, who the hell knew how long he was going on his trip? What if he went on a trip for a year or two? Would that be too late? Seeing Ash's determined gaze, Lorelei could only sigh helplessly. Looks like I have to solidify this alliance before he leaves. Although Ash's departure would mean allies couldn't help each other, this alliance would allow Lorelei to maintain her independence in the face of Lance's pressure. A champion and a champion, even Lance wouldn't dare to overly suppress them. At the very least. With this alliance with Ash, Lance would respect Lorelei's dignity as a champion. Of course, Ash, that simpleton, was completely unaware of all this. Ha ha ha. Pikachu, are you excited? We're going on another journey, travel, training, constantly challenging strong opponents. That's what Ash truly sought. Having only been back in Kanto for a few days, Ash, trapped in the Indigo Plateau, was on the verge of collapse. And the girl's letter became his lifeline. Pikachu Pikachu, Mu Chen had no time to pay attention to Ash's excitement. These past few days, through his tireless efforts, he had finally told Misty that his transformation only lasted 5 minutes at a time, and that he needed to wait 24 hours between transformations. The result? Mu Chen was naturally incredibly heartbroken. Damn it. That heartless little brat, are you happy that my transformation time is so short? Just thinking about Misty's happy face when he told her he could only transform for 5 minutes made Mu Chen's teeth itch with hatred. Damn it, you're happy, but 5 minutes isn't even enough for my foreplay. The problem is seeing it but not being able to have it. I can't stand this feeling. Unfortunately, Misty had made things clear to him. She could accept transforming into a human. Even because of their feelings for each other, Misty had tacitly accepted Mu Chen's attitude of treating her as his girlfriend. But, most importantly, Misty remained incredibly firm. She wouldn't care if he took advantage of her when he was Pikachu. But now that she's human, she has to behave herself. Feelings need to be cultivated. Currently, after several days of relentless effort, Mu Chen has only just reached the point of touching hands. Xiaoxia is naturally shy when touched by Mu Chen in his human form. But the problem is, this isn't enough for Mu Chen. When he was Pikachu, he could touch her however he wanted, except for her private parts. Now that he's human and can experience real touch, how can he start all over again? This is 5 minutes a day. I was a loser in my past life, not a Casanova. Unfortunately, facing the determined Xiaoxia, Mu Chen has no tricks up his sleeve and can only proceed step by step. Honey, that idiot Xiao Zhi seems to have contacted some girl, saying they want to travel together. Why don't you come with us too? That night, Mu Chen, visiting Xiao Xia's room, touched her smooth little hand and told her about Xiao Zhi's idiot's purpose. Hey. Ash is your owner? How can you say that about him? Everything else was fine, but Xia was speechless at Mu Chen's attitude towards Ash. Ash, well, he is a bit slow, but he's been pretty good to you, hasn't he? Hey. Don't fucking mention him, it annoys me. Honey, come with us, this trip might last forever, I can't live without you. Chapter 393 Embarking on a New Journey. Mom. Professor Oak, Elite Four members, you don't need to see me off. I'm off now. Having decided to embark on his journey again, Ash naturally wouldn't hesitate. After a brief handover, Misty arrived at the hover train platform connecting Goldenrod City to Goldenrod City in the Johto region. Looking at the crowd seeing him off, Ash was filled with anticipation for the future. He was now the champion of the Kanto region. But that wasn't enough. He needed to continue challenging himself, challenging other regions, challenging their competitions, their Elite Four members, their champions. Only by constantly battling these strong opponents could he eventually become the Pokémon master of his dreams. Of course, having realized his shortcomings, Ash also made some new plans. His Pidgeotto and the relatively weaker Frostless were left at home to keep his daughter company. Now, he had 2 free Pokémon slots. During his travels, Ash would naturally catch new Pokémon to strengthen himself. Milotic, Gardevoir, and Sylveon were also Ash's main training targets for this trip. Only by growing stronger can they alleviate Pikachu's burden in times of crisis. Ash knows that he needs to at least raise his main Pokémon to Elite Four level to help Pikachu. As for his main Pikachu, of course, he'll bring it along. However, Ash also knows that Pikachu likes to stay home, likes to slack off, and likes to observe from the sidelines. So this time, Ash made a decision. Unless it's a necessary battle, he won't let Pikachu go out and bully weaker opponents. Win or lose, he'll train his other Pokémon. Mu Chen, of course, doesn't care at all about this. To hell with whoever it is, it's best if they don't have to fight. As for Ash leaving one of his cheerleaders, Frostless, at home? Hell, I don't have any feelings for her anyway, I don't care. Of these cheerleaders, Mu Chen has the deepest bond with Milotic, followed by Gardevoir, the fighting masochist, and Misty, the disobedient little devil. With the 3 of them, plus Misty, that's enough for Mu Chen. Yes, Ash was traveling, and Misty naturally accompanied him. Although others looked at the 2 with ambiguous gazes, Ash and Misty, as the parties involved, didn't care at all. Ash, that simpleton, completely didn't understand what ambiguity meant. As for Misty, if it weren't for Pikachu, she wouldn't have accompanied this simpleton through the wind and sun. After Mu Chen's repeated requests, Misty naturally agreed to travel with him. This wasn't just to accelerate the development of their relationship, but also to keep an eye on this little rascal. Misty knew Pikachu's rascal nature perfectly well. If she didn't keep an eye on him, who knew what this rascal might do? 5 minutes? Hell, Misty wasn't stupid. If she didn't understand, why not ask her 3 older sisters? In her 3 sisters' words, 5 minutes was a long time, okay? Many seemingly strong men often couldn't even last 3 minutes. Precisely because of this, Misty was determined to keep a close eye on this rascal Pikachu this time. Since you've chosen me, you can't go and study other girls anymore. As a woman, Xiaoxia also has a very strong possessive streak. Of course, this doesn't matter to Mu Chen at all. With Xiaoxia, he really can't have room for other girls in his heart. Anyway, he still has a few older women, and even Lingzi and Kona are occasionally taken advantage of by him, which is enough. Speaking of Kona, this woman's intentions were finally achieved before Xiaozi left. At this moment, she has formed an alliance with Xiaozi. However, Xiaozi, as one of the parties involved, is completely unaware of this. On the night Xiaozi said he was leaving, Kona came to Pikachu again. What she wanted was, of course, the alliance. With Kona's active cooperation, Mu Chen took advantage of her to the fullest. He even almost lost control and transformed into a human to take Kona, this bespectacled girl, right there and then. However, at the crucial moment, Mu Chen remembered the 3 rules he had made with Xiaoxia. He was absolutely forbidden from revealing his ability to transform into a human to anyone other than her. In the end, Mu Chen held back. Having taken advantage of the situation, a flush Lorelei naturally brought up the alliance again. Mu Chen wasn't one to just take advantage without fulfilling his promise. He absolutely swore an oath. The next day, Lorelei came again, and Mu Chen appeared with the agreement bearing Ash's champion seal. Seeing that Ash had agreed, Lorelei was overjoyed. With the day's activities over, the alliance between the two was officially formed. Pikachu, what do you think that silly girl who contacts Ash looks like? Sitting on the hover train, Zaya Aksha asked Pikachu curiously in a low voice. Influenced by Mu Chen, Zaya Aksha had now started calling Ash a silly girl behind his back. There was no way around it, whether it was his words or actions, he truly lived up to the description of a silly girl. Pikachu, rolling his eyes, Mu Chen looked helplessly at Zaya Aksha. How the hell should I know? She's probably blind, actually contacting that idiot Ash? But then again, this is an opportunity for me. From what that idiot described, they were childhood friends, and he even helped her when they were kids. That's probably why that girl has a crush on Ash, and that's why she contacted him. Thinking of this, Mu Chen perked up. If he could complete the mission through this, wouldn't that be wonderful? A year. Time is limited, and Mu Chen can't afford to delay. Finding a suitable partner for Ash is already exhausting, and finding someone who has feelings for him is even rarer. If this girl is really interested in Ash, then I'll definitely help her make it happen. Ash? Who cares about his wishes? I only care about completing the mission. Pikachu. You little rascal. I'm warning you, this time we're traveling with that girl, and you absolutely cannot have any thoughts about her. This was the most important reason why Misty was traveling with Ash. Seriously, if she let things slide, wouldn't she become a second-tier celebrity after a year of traveling? Misty knew all too well Pikachu's tricks of using cuteness and shamelessly taking advantage. Chapter 394 Serena. This is Goldenrod City in Chengdu. It's so bustling. It seems even more bustling than Goldenrod City in Kanto. After a 2-day journey, Ash and Misty finally set foot on Chengdu soil. Looking at the bustling Goldenrod City, Misty's eyes were filled with curiosity. It really is bustling. But where is Serena? Did she say she would wait for us here? The girl who was Ash's childhood friend was Serena from the Kalos region. The meeting place they agreed to meet was Goldenrod City in the Chengdu region. Now that they had arrived in Goldenrod City, Ash naturally wanted to meet up with his friends first before thinking about anything else. Ash. Just as Ash was still looking for Serena, a clear voice came from behind them. Serena? You've grown so much? I remember you were still a little kid. Attracted by the voice, Ash naturally turned his head to look. What he saw stunned Ash. Of course, he wasn't amazed by her beauty. Ash was confused because Serena had grown up and was different from the person he remembered. You're kidding me, everyone grows up. And who is this? Serena was exasperated by Ash's silly question. However, she quickly focused her attention on Misty standing next to Ash. Looking at the tall, slender Misty, holding Pikachu, wearing denim shorts that revealed her long, white legs, Serena felt a mixture of confusion and a hint of hostility. What was the relationship between this orange-haired beauty and Ash? Why were they in Chengdu together? Were they traveling together? And Pikachu? Wasn't this Pikachu Ash's champion Pokémon? Why was it in this beautiful woman's hands? Just as Mu Chen had guessed, Serena did indeed have extraordinary feelings for Ash. This was why, after seeing Ash on TV, she immediately contacted him and made plans to travel together. However, Misty's appearance was beyond Serena's plans. In her plan, she intended to take a trip with Ash, using the journey to deepen their relationship and ultimately become the most important woman in Ash's life. But now, Ash is actually traveling with a pretty young lady? This is Misty, my partner in the Kanto region. Misty will be traveling with us this time. Ash, of course, couldn't sense Serena's hostility. This idiot's emotional intelligence was something that Mu Chen was very worried about. Hello. I'm Misty. Unlike Ash, who was so clueless, Misty naturally sensed the subtle hostility emanating from Serena's eyes. Misty didn't care about it. This young lady has nothing to do with Ash, this idiot. Think what you want. However, she hoped that after traveling for a while, he would still have illusions about this idiot. Serena, although she was hostile towards Misty, she still had to maintain appearances. Seeing Misty extend her hand, Serena could only extend her hand and shake Misty's hand, which was considered a formal introduction. Pikachu, holy crap. Holy crap. Holy crap. What a waste. As a man, Mu Chen wasn't as sensitive as Aksha. He couldn't sense Serena's hostility at all. At this moment, Mu Chen had already fallen for her. Damn it. Flaxen curly hair. Black stockings. Long legs. And she's clearly more developed than our Zaya. What a waste. What a horrible waste. The thought of having to matchmake a girl of this caliber with Zhi made Mu Chen's heart feel like it was being torn apart. For the sake of Zaya, he had to give up the whole forest. Only Mu Chen, the person involved, knew how intense this pain was. However, Zaya quickly brought him back to his senses. Pikachu, holy crap. It hurts like hell. There's a new girl, can't you give me some face? Suddenly, Zaya started pinching his skin, and Mu Chen screamed in pain. Ash, is this your Pikachu? It's so cute. Misty, can I hold it? However, it was Mu Chen's exclamation that eased the awkward atmosphere. Of course, Ash didn't feel the awkwardness at all. Sure, but Serena, you have to be careful. This little guy isn't very well behaved, he's always moving around. As the saying goes, women are all born actresses. Although Misty didn't care about Serena's enemy, she wasn't one to be bullied. This girl has no designs on that idiot Ash. If you have designs, go ahead, don't drag me into it. As for Pikachu? Anyway, I already pinched its skin. This girl doesn't believe that little rascal would dare to do anything under my nose. At this moment, Misty was incredibly glad she was so wise. Traveling with this little rascal was the right thing to do, otherwise, she could clearly feel the rising temperature of this little rascal in her arms. While Mu Chen and Zhi were on the deserted island, Zhi wasn't idle either. If she had only a vague understanding of matters between men and women before, she now knew it all. She might not understand, but her older sisters certainly did. Through their teachings and the knowledge gathered from various online books, how could Zhi not know what this bastard's elevated body temperature meant? Pikachu, damn it. I'm such an idiot. Why did I have to let Zhi come along? Zhi was relieved, while Mu Chen was filled with regret. If he hadn't let Zhi come, wouldn't he have been smug? Even if that Serena girl ended up with Zhi, he could have at least taken advantage of her and felt the touch of those long, stockinged legs, right? Now that everyone's here, let's begin our journey. Our first stop is the Johto region. I'm going to challenge the gyms, and then challenge the Elite Four and Champion of Johto. For an ordinary trainer, challenging a gym would naturally mean waiting for the league championship. But who is Ash? The Kanto region's champion. Challenging gyms, Elite Four members, and even champions from other regions is perfectly normal for him. That's exactly what Ash plans to do now. He doesn't care about the league championship, he'll just challenge gyms, Elite Four members, and champions along the way, using them to strengthen his battle skills and thoroughly train his melodic and other Pokémon. He might even be able to catch 2 more Pokémon he likes during this journey. Chapter 395 Serena's Determination. Hello. I'm Ash from the Kanto region, and I'd like to challenge your gym. Ash perfectly demonstrated to Serena what a battle maniac he was. They'd barely left the hover train station before this guy, along with 2 girls, charged straight to the Goldenrod City gym for a challenge. Misty, who knew Ash's personality all too well, wasn't surprised. But Serena was puzzled. Misty, is Ash always like this? This was Goldenrod City. In the entire Pokémon world, Goldenrod City was undoubtedly one of the most prosperous. It was filled with countless shops, various game arcades, flower shops, and even a well-equipped Pokémon beauty salon underground. Yet, Ash, with 2 beautiful female companions, chose Goldenrod City as his first stop to challenge the gym? Shouldn't travel be about experiencing different cuisines, leisure activities, and entertainment? Ash was already the Kanto champion, what was he still after in battle? Serena, you don't understand, Zaya shrugged helplessly, glancing sadly at the bewildered girl. Once upon a time, she too had harbored a tiny bit of fantasy about this idiot. But that fantasy quickly shattered. This idiot was simply a madman who cared nothing for anything but fighting. Leisure? Entertainment? Pretty girls? Those didn't exist in this idiot's world. The only thing that interested him outside of fighting was the second battle. Pikachu, Zaya sighed, and Mu Chen sighed too. Ugh, this idiot, I'm suffering. This Serena girl seemed somewhat interested in that idiot. If he scared her away because of him, I'd be devastated. Mu Chen knew this was his chance. If he missed it, who knew when the next opportunity would come? But Alice, he could find a way to create an opportunity for Serena, but what about the idiot Zhi? That guy, Even if Serena stripped naked in front of him, he wouldn't react at all. Just as Mu Chen was worried that Serena would also be deterred by Ash's cluelessness, Serena spoke up in confusion. I don't understand. Don't understand what? Misty. Explain yourself properly. Women are very magical creatures in Mu Chen's eyes. One minute these two girls were full of hostility, and now they're like sisters. Of course, this is also because Misty, this smart girl, subtly indicated to Serena that she already had someone and there was absolutely no possibility between her and Ash. Misty is a smart girl, and Serena isn't stupid either. After Misty said that, she didn't understand what she meant. As long as Misty and Ash had no chance, she didn't care whether the two of them traveled together or not. Anyway, she's already here, isn't she? Hey Ash, looking at Serena, Misty nodded again subtly. You mean Ash's head isn't working? Is he injured? Serena is smart, but when it comes to the person she likes, it's a different story. Upon hearing Xiaoxi's words, Serena immediately tensed up. Had Xiaoxi suffered some serious trauma? No, I mean Xiaoxi is completely clueless about relationships. In other words, he's a blockhead, completely clueless about anything between men and women. Looking at Serena, who was about to throw herself into the fire like a moth, Xiaoxi's eyes were filled with deep sympathy. Poor girl, how could you fall for such a simpleton like Xiaoxi? However, just when Xiaoxi thought Serena would back down, a dazzling light shone in the girl's eyes. Oh. I thought you were talking about something else? This? Xiaoxi has always been like this. I knew it all along. Xiaoxi, don't worry, I'll definitely make him fall for me. Serena was a clever girl. Although Xiaoxi had already made her stance clear, she still wanted to seize every opportunity to solidify her claim. Xiaoxi was hers, Serena's. Having traveled all the way from Kalos to this Johto region, what was Serena after? Isn't that just Ash, the goofy guy who's left an indelible mark on her heart for so many years? For Serena, it doesn't matter that Ash, with his simple-mindedness and lack of emotional intelligence, doesn't understand matters of love. As childhood friends, Serena didn't just meet Ash today. She was mentally prepared for this situation. In fact, Serena had already planned for a long haul. Even the hardest steel can be softened by a gentle touch. Surely a beautiful woman like Serena could handle that goofy guy? Full of confidence, Serena showed no sign of backing down. Okay, Serena, you can do it. I'll do everything I can to help you. Seeing the girl's determination, Misty was moved. What a kind person. Such selfless acts, willing to sacrifice themselves to reform a stubborn goofball, are truly rare in this world. If Serena could get together with Ash, Misty would wholeheartedly support her. That way, she wouldn't have to worry about that rascal Pikachu. Seeing the way Pikachu is staring at Serena's thighs, Xiaoxi even considered whether she should get some stockings too. Pika. At this moment, Mu Chen wasn't interested in stockings or long legs. When he heard Serena's statement, he immediately got excited. Holy crap! Awesome! Serena is awesome. That's the kind of spirit we need. Don't worry, I could electrocute that idiot and send him straight to you. At this moment, Mu Chen was full of confidence in this main quest. As long as Serena cooperated, Ash's side would be easy to deal with. I refuse to believe that you wouldn't feel anything with this beautiful lady offering herself up. Regardless of what Mu Chen thought, regardless of what Serena and Xiaoxi thought, Ash was definitely not feeling anything at this moment. Since I'm the Kanto champion, can I set the rules for the competition? Haha. That's great. Let's have a 3-on-3 Pokémon battle then. Each person takes turns sending 3 Pokémon, and the side that defeats all of the opponent's Pokémon wins. Arriving at the gym, Ash showed absolutely no appreciation for the beautiful gym leader, Sylvia, from Goldenrod City. In his world, there was only battle. Because she was the Kanto champion, the gym challenge didn't have to be like the usual one. Therefore, Ash decided on the rule that each person would send 3 Pokémon. This way, Melodic, Gardevoir, and Sylvia would all get some training. Chapter 396 The Legendary Little Fangirl. Wow! Ash is so amazing. At this moment, Serena completely transformed into a little Fangirl. Although Ash didn't even send Pikachu into battle, it still fought quite well against Xiaoxi. At this point, Ash had already taken the lead by relying on Gardevoir's teleportation advantage, capturing Xiaoxi's first Pokémon. Seeing Ash win so easily, Serena's eyes immediately lit up with admiration. Pika, holy crap! I finally understand why Gary was so enthusiastic. Watching Serena jumping around cheering for Ash, Mu Chen instantly understood. Sure enough, my choice was right. Forming a women's cheerleading squad is definitely no problem. Having a woman cheering you on during a battle is a completely different feeling. Pikachu, are you envious? Misty's senses are incredibly sharp. As soon as Mu Chen made a move, Misty immediately noticed. Looking down, Xiaoxia saw the envious look in Pikachu's eyes and immediately teased him. This little rascal, actually envious of Ash? Pika, envious? Holy crap. Of course he's envious. Who wouldn't want a pretty girl cheering them on while they're crushing the weak? The morale difference is huge. If you perform well, I can cheer you on next time you battle too. Seeing the rascal nod, Xiaoxia chuckled. With her mindset shifted and accepting the fact that this rascal could become human, Xiaoxia's attitude towards Mu Chen was completely different. At this moment, influenced by Serena, Xiaoxia also wanted to show off in front of this rascal, Mu Chen. Pika, what the hell? What's going on? So nice? Xiaoxia's sudden change clearly surprised Mu Chen. Why the hell is she suddenly thinking about me? This isn't like you. Xiaoxia knows Mu Chen well, and Mu Chen knows Xiaoxia well too. This girl, while not exactly wild, is definitely not gentle. What the hell is going on? However, how could Mu Chen know that Xiaoxia's mindset had changed, and she was starting to see him as a real man? As expected of the champion. Well then, please witness my last Pokémon. Go, Porygon. Just as Serena was cheering and Xiaoxia was joking with Mu Chen, Ash had already defeated his opponent's second Pokémon. Facing the possibility of Ash defeating 3 of her opponents, Goldenrod City Gym leader Xiaoxia couldn't sit still. Although Ash's status as the Kanto region champion was much higher than hers, she couldn't let him defeat 3 of her opponents, could she? After all, Ash wasn't even using his champion Pokémon. Through the live TV broadcast, most people who knew Ash's name knew that his champion Pokémon was that cute-looking Pikachu. The rest were simply not even a tier above. Yet this Gardevoir, so far superior, had completely overwhelmed him? But how could Xiaoxia know the level of Ash's opponents? Gardevoir and Melodic might struggle against Elite 4 level Pokémon, but against an ordinary gym leader like Xiaoxia, they were easily crushed. Poliwrath? Then, Gardevoir, use Psychic. Ash was incredibly excited. Of course, this had absolutely nothing to do with Serena's energetic jumping and shouting. For Ash, defeating his opponent was the most exciting thing. Especially since it was Gardevoir who had won. Shanna, with consecutive victories, Gardevoir's momentum surged. Following Ash's command, Gardevoir raised its hand and unleashed a psychic attack on the strange Pokémon floating in midair. As the battles continued, Gardevoir's level increased. Now, her psychic attack could create a control zone, firmly holding her opponent within its range. Dragon. Let's not back down, use Psychic. Although Dragonite was a normal-type Pokémon, it also excelled in various Psychic-type attacks. Facing the oncoming Psychic attack, Dragonite's dull eyes suddenly emitted a dazzling red light. Immediately, a Psychic attack no weaker than Gardevoir's erupted from its eyes, fiercely slamming into Gardevoir's attack. Boom! The 2 Psychic attacks collided, creating a violent explosion in midair. Well done. Dragonite, use Psychic Beam. Seeing Dragonite withstand Gardevoir's attack, Xiaoxia's morale soared. She knew that her previous 2 Pokémon were completely helpless against Gardevoir. Psychic Beam? Gardevoir, let's go too. Ash didn't react when his move was blocked. Since the enemy was going to use Psychic Beam, Ash naturally wouldn't hold back. Shanna, the 2 Pokémon launched into another round of combat. Oh no. Misty, what do we do? Ash's Gardevoir seems to be no match for this Pokémon. Before Ash could react, Serena panicked. This was the first time she had witnessed Ash commanding his Pokémon in battle. His consecutive victories had left a deep impression on Serena. Now, seeing Ash encounter an opponent, the little girl was immediately anxious. Oh, it's okay. Even if Gardevoir loses, Ash still has 2 Pokémon, right? Misty was puzzled by Serena's anxiety. Serena, really? It's just a regular gym battle. So what if Ash gets wiped out? As long as it's not Pikachu that loses, his status and reputation won't be affected. Besides, this guy isn't even going to participate in the Chengdu Regional League tournament, he's just doing it for training. Pikachu, Xiaoxia didn't understand, but Mu Chen saw an opportunity. Holy crap. Those long, stockinged legs are completely smitten with that idiot Ash. Serena had personally admitted to Xiaoxia that she liked Ash, and Mu Chen knew that, of course. However, he really hadn't expected this little girl to like him to this extent. This is, system, isn't this a freebie? With Serena like this, do you really need me to make a move? Mu Chen thought that if he were Ash, Serena only needed to stretch out her long legs and show a little interest, and he would immediately fall for her. Chapter 397 A critical hint from Ash. Amazing. As expected of Ash, the champion of the Kanto region, I accept my defeat wholeheartedly. Although he defeated Gardevoir with Porygon, it was only a Pyrrhic victory. Then, when Ash summoned Melodic, the battle came to an end. Facing the victorious Ash, Xiaoxi's eyes shone with admiration. To put it bluntly, this is still a world where strength reigns supreme. If Ash were just an ordinary person, Xiaoxi would simply offer congratulations for defeating her. But Ash was now the champion of the Kanto region. He was now one of the top figures in this world. With his status, Ash's appeal to girls his age was immense. However, Ash wasn't Gary. If it were Gary, a member of the subgroup, he would definitely have dragged Xiaoxi into his arms, making her one of his harem cheerleaders. As for Ash? Ahoha. It's alright. It's alright. I still have a lot to train for. Thank you for accepting my challenge, praised. Ash was naturally excited. However, what excited this guy wasn't Xiaoxi's slightly blushing face, nor was it the hint of affection Xiaoxi had shown him. This guy was simply excited about his victory in the battle. Aha! Our Ash isn't strong enough yet. Besides Pikachu, he still needs to train. I also thank you for your hospitality on behalf of Ash. What a joke. Daring to flirt with our Ash? Ash, that idiot, might not see it, but how could Serena not see it? In the original anime world, Ash hadn't become a champion so early, hadn't achieved such remarkable results, and naturally, not so many beauties were interested in him. But in the world Mu Chen has come to, the timeline has changed, and the original world line has also changed. Even Serena had to bravely stand up and defend her territorial sovereignty. Oh well, have a safe journey. Mr. Ash, welcome back next time. Seeing Serena rushing up, Xiaoxi could only shake her head regretfully. There was nothing she could do, the other party had struck first. During their battle, Serena had been jumping around and cheering him on. Xiaoxi initially thought she was just a fangirl. But what happened? Seeing Ash's complete lack of reaction when Serena linked arms with him, Xiaoxi knew their relationship wasn't so simple. Her feelings for Ash were mostly just admiration for a strong opponent, and since he was already taken, Xiaoxi naturally wouldn't continue pursuing him. Haha. Okay. I'll challenge you again next time. However, the truth wasn't what Xiaoxi expected. When Serena suddenly linked arms with him, Ash didn't react at all. Even with that soft, squishy feeling, he didn't sense anything amiss. In his mind, since they were partners, and childhood friends at that, such intimate gestures were perfectly normal. Unfortunately, this clueless Ash didn't realize that his single-minded pursuit of victory was sending the wrong signal to everyone. Xiaoxi received a signal of giving up, while Serena, as one of the parties involved, received immense encouragement. Ash didn't reject her advances. Does that mean he's interested in her too? Or at least he doesn't dislike her? This is a huge encouragement for Serena. Given her personality, Serena isn't usually this proactive. Initially, while she had ulterior motives in inviting Ash on the trip, she only intended to slowly cultivate their relationship. But from the very first meeting, Misty put immense pressure on Serena. Although she confirmed that Misty and Ash weren't attracted to each other, this pressure wouldn't easily subside. Then, just a few hours later, another gym leader, Wispy, started flirting with Ash. Serena was now under tremendous pressure. Under such pressure, Serena abandoned her shyness and took the initiative. And now, it seems to be working well? Of course, Serena wasn't the only one misunderstanding. Seeing Ash's lack of rejection towards Serena's affection, even Misty was bewildered. Could it be that this guy isn't a complete idiot? Is his emotional intelligence online? Does he understand these matters between men and women? Then why does this guy never even glance at me? Am I, Xiaoxia, really that unattractive? Just kidding. That little rascal Pikachu is completely infatuated with me. Xiaoxia felt hurt by this situation. Pika, Mu Chen didn't know if Xiaoxia was hurt, but he was also completely bewildered. Holy crap! Am I about to win by doing nothing? This Serena is so amazing. Ash, that idiot, doesn't understand, but surely Mu Chen does? Their actions have gone beyond ordinary friendship, and even beyond a pure romantic relationship. This is practically an intimate act between lovers, okay? Damn. Is this main quest really that easy? It's only the first day, and he's only just met this long-legged Serena in stockings, and Mu Chen already sees hope for victory. Ash, where are we going next? Being so close to Ash, Serena's pretty face was beaming with happiness. Huh? Where to? Of course, we're going on an adventure in the wild, and then continuing our gym challenges. Aren't you tired? If not, let's head out. Having been stuck in the Indigo Plateau of Kanto for several days, Ash had been itching for an adventure in the wild. The bustling Goldenrod city held no appeal for him. Right now, all he wanted was to get to the wild, catch Pokémon, and battle powerful ones. By the way, Serena, could you take your hand off me? It's hard for me to walk like that, isn't it? And what's that soft thing? It's making me a little uncomfortable. However, before anyone could reply, Ash spoke again. This time, his words were a devastating blow to everyone. At least for Serena and Mu Chen, it was a fatal blow. Dissuaded by Ash, Serena could only blush and pull her hands away. Good heavens! Is this guy really as clueless as Misty said? Pikachu, holy crap! Damn it! So this is where the real difficulty lies. At this moment, Mu Chen realized that finding Ash a girlfriend wasn't difficult because of the girl, but because of this idiot. Chapter 398 Serena's Resolute Spirit. I'm so tired. Ash. Let's rest a bit before continuing, okay? This was a phrase Misty used to often mention. Of course, even if Misty mentioned it, she would never be as coquettish as Serena. Pikachu, holy crap. I can't take it. I can't take it. Looking at Serena stretching lazily, extending her impressive figure, and constantly pounding her long legs, Mu Chen got excited. Pikachu, in his excitement, Mu Chen clearly forgot about Misty's presence. A series of pinching and kneading techniques were delivered, and this guy decisively entered a state of perfect tranquility. However, to Serena's disappointment, oh dear. How long have we been walking? Serena, why are you even more delicate than Misty? Let's walk a little further, and try to reach Azalea Town today. Serena's actions were completely like throwing a flirtatious glance at a blind man. Despite Serena constantly showing off her figure in front of Ash. Unfortunately, this guy's focus wasn't on that at all. Watching Ash stride forward with a map in hand, Serena was so angry she almost kicked him. Bastard. Big bastard. Can't you even look at me a little? Serena, you'll get used to it. Ash, seeing the furious Serena kicking at the roadside pebbles, Misty walked over helplessly. Misty. Ash, does he really never react differently to any girl? Watching Misty constantly pointing to her head, Serena felt utterly deflated. This guy, calling him a blockhead would be an understatement. Hadn't I made it obvious enough along the way? Even when they spent the night in the wild, Serena, wanting this idiot Ash to know her feelings, abandoned her girlish reserve and went to his side to rest. However, when this restless sleeper Ash swung a punch, and Serena's pretty face received a hard slap, the girl gave up. Now, seeing Ash completely ignoring her, Serena was utterly at a loss. This wasn't just wood. This was a 1,000-year-old iron pine. Stronger than steel. Now that you mention it, there isn't one. Hearing Serena's question, Misty recalled. Really? Who? What's the situation? Excited. Seeing Misty's reply, Serena almost jumped up with excitement. Finally, she saw a glimmer of hope. You know how silly Ash is. He's got his heart set on battles. So, he looks at strong trainers differently. For example, Sabrina from Goldenrod City in the Kanto region, and Lorelei, the Ice Elite Four member. Ash looks at them differently. Of course, Misty didn't clarify, but Ash's gaze towards them was indeed different, though it wasn't out of affection. Is that how it is? Then I know what to do. Serena didn't have many Pokémon, only one of Kelos's starter Pokémon, Fennekin, a Pagem, and an unevolved EV. However, Ash admired strong trainers. Serena's 3 Pokémon were all bred and trained for Pokémon contests. Battle power? Hell, Serena wouldn't dare to battle wild Pokémon easily anyway. Now, with Misty's hint, Serena's eyes hardened again. Thank you, Misty. After sincerely thanking Misty, Serena changed her previous lazy attitude and began to observe the area with Ash. As for why she was observing her surroundings? Hell, her own Pokemon's strength was lacking, so she'd catch new, powerful Pokemon. Only then could she attract Ash's attention, who was obsessed with battle, and make him focus on her. Pikachu, oh, Ash, you're really asking for trouble. Looking at Serena's determined gaze, Mu Chen was speechless. This unlucky kid, how could she believe Misty's words? Was Ash looking at her differently? He was practically challenging her. However, although Mu Chen knew this in his heart, he absolutely dared not say it aloud. This was Misty's hint. If he told Serena, wouldn't that be undermining his own darling? Besides, Serena didn't know how smart he was. Mu Chen planned to take it one step at a time. Even Misty herself had to learn step by step. If he directly revealed that his intelligence was comparable to humans, wouldn't she be scared away? Besides, why tell Serena? It was rare for this girl to have such a stubborn spirit. Mu Chen was afraid she'd give up. Zyuxia. What are you dawdling for? Didn't you see Serena has caught up? You're not even as good as Serena, are you? Zyuxi, of course, was completely unaware of the conversation behind him. Now that Serena had caught up, Zyuxi, eager to get going, naturally urged Zyuxia, who was lagging behind. Pikachu. If you ever dare to treat me like that idiot Zyuxi again, you're dead. Compared to Serena, Zyuxia suddenly felt very fortunate. Although Pikachu was a bit of a lecher, at least it wasn't stupid. Pikachu, holy crap. Can't we have some ambition? Comparing me to this idiot? You're insulting me. Hearing Zyuxia's threat, Mu Chen rolled his eyes. Am I such a heartless person? In this desolate wilderness, surrounded by birdsong and fragrant flowers, why the rush? If it were me, wouldn't it be better to just find a secluded grove and do something? Of course, this was just a thought in his mind. Zyuxia hadn't been completely won over yet, so Mu Chen couldn't be too obvious about many things. If word got out, he'd be in for a good pinching and tossing. Mu Chen wasn't a masochist, nor was he some kind of weirdo. Picking on someone like that wasn't for him. However, the group of Zyuxi and his companions, traveling at breakneck speed, were unaware that their presence in the Chengdu area had already been exposed to some people with ulterior motives. Are you sure? That Kanto champion, Zyuxi, is in Chengdu. Upon receiving his subordinate's report, the Chengdu region psychic elite four member, Yishu, narrowed his eyes. Unexpectedly, at a time when Kanto's ghost-type elite four member, Kikuko, had disappeared, this Kanto champion had actually appeared in the Chengdu area? What was his purpose? Was it really, as the official statement said, just for training? Or was it like Lance back then? If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 399 Froggy Frog. Croak croak, oh my god. How come there's a Froakie from the Kalos region in the Johto region? They were still about half a day's journey from Azalea Town. Beside a pond, Ash and his friends were taking their final rest. According to their plan, after this rest, they would head straight for Azalea Town. They would only rest for one night before Ash's second gym challenge. But unexpectedly, during their rest, an accident occurred. Just as Serena screamed, a sky blue frog-shaped Pokemon suddenly darted out of the pond and started barking at Pikachu, who was helping Misty relieve her leg fatigue. Pikachu, what the hell? What the hell is this? Suddenly provoked, Mu Chen was slightly stunned. What the hell did I do to you? He was giving Misty a massage, and suddenly this thing appeared. Mu Chen was extremely annoyed. Damn it, is it looking for electricity? This thing is clearly a water-type Pokemon. Mu Chen's electric-type moves would be absolutely fatal to it. Besides, what level is Mu Chen at now? He wouldn't even consider a competitor of this caliber. You want to battle with it? I'd rather waste my time. Haha. Great. I didn't expect to find a Froakie from the Kalos region here. I've decided. I'm going to catch it. Through his Pokédex, Ash also learned what this thing in front of him was. Just as Serena said. A Froakie, one of the starter Pokemon from the Kalos region. Serena might be curious why such a rare Pokemon like Froakie would appear in the wild in the Johto region, but Ash absolutely didn't care. Didn't I, Ash, catch a bunch of Pokemon that didn't belong in Kanto? In Ash's understanding, these Pokemon aren't without legs, surely they can travel around, right? Clearly, this Froakie is a fellow traveler from the Kalos region. Pikachu, what the hell? You want to catch it, Ash, that idiot, didn't care. Serena, that little girl, didn't understand, but Mu Chen knew perfectly well. The random encounter mode had been upgraded, running into legendary Pokemon in the wild was no longer surprising. A mere starter Pokemon from another region was nothing. But the problem was, what about my cheerleading squad? We finally managed to get that stubborn Pidgeotto out of school, and now you want to get me another one? Mu Chen absolutely couldn't accept this. What a joke. This thing, male or female, I can't stand it. This wasn't the time when Mu Chen was new to this world and could even barely accept a clumsy fish. Now, Mu Chen's standards were much higher. Just as Mu Chen was panicking, considering whether to electrocute the stupid frog with a black electric ball or just kill it, his savior appeared. Ash. Can I catch this Froakie? Before, Serena, obsessed with Pokemon contests, wouldn't have bothered catching such an obviously unglamorous Pokemon. However, after receiving Misty's suggestion, Serena changed. Serena knew that only by becoming stronger, and getting Ash's attention, could she have a chance to win over this goofy guy. Given her current situation, the best way to become stronger was naturally to catch Pokemon. This Froakie was one of Kalos's starter Pokemon, so its battle prowess was naturally considerable, and Serena became interested in catching it. Ah. Serena, you want to catch it? Okay then, although Ash was a goofy guy and passionate about battle, he wasn't selfish. He wouldn't refuse his partner's request to catch it. Thank you, with Ash's approval. Serena gave him a smile that captivated Mu Chen. Pikachu, however, the price of this captivation was naturally enjoying Misty's pinching technique. Froakie is a water-type Pokemon, so I choose you, Pancham. Serena's strongest Pokemon was her starter Pokemon, Fennekin. However, Froakie's type was completely countered by Froakie, and Serena didn't have Ash's ability to fight against type disadvantages. Muru, with Serena's summons, a Pancham, even shorter than Pikachu, appeared before her. Pika, what's this bastard yelling about? Finished? Holy crap. You're already finished before the battle even starts? Is that really okay? Hearing Pancham's childish roar, Mu Chen was speechless. What kind of players are these? Ribbit. However, while Mu Chen was speechless, Froakie was on high alert. Because it grew up in the Kalos region, it had never seen an electric mouse like Pikachu before, which was why it had the courage to provoke them. Pikachu didn't recognize Froakie, but it recognized Pancham, which was also from the Kalos region. Seeing this, Froakie immediately prepared for battle. Battle, Pancham, use consecutive punches. Pancham is a fighting-type Pokemon, so its fighting ability is naturally not weak. Although Serena's Pancham was more inclined to perform, that didn't mean it didn't understand combat. Roll, a childish roar rang out, and Pancham launched its attack. Ribbit, facing Pancham's attack, Froakie was naturally not to be outdone. Without a word, a water gun shot out from its mouth. Roll, the fierce charge instantly turned into a soaking wet mess, and Pancham looked utterly aggrieved. Oh dear. Pancham, don't give up, keep going, charge. Battles were never Serena's forte. But Alice, what could she do? Ash, that silly goose, was only interested in battles. Serena was incredibly serious about this battle, determined to get Ash's attention. Muru, sensing its master's resolve, Pancham charged again. Pikachu, holy crap. Is this some kind of chicken fighting? Am I too advanced in my current level? In Mu Chen's view, this battle between the two Pokemon was simply a contest of who was weaker and less skilled. However, Ash and his friends were completely absorbed in the fight. Watching Ash's unwavering focus on the match, Mu Chen was speechless. Seriously? This chicken fighting, and you're watching it with such enthusiasm? You're a champion, for goodness sake. Can't you at least show some champion's composure? Can't you stop lowering your standards like this? Chapter 400 A Tree and Pear Blossoms. Awesome. I successfully caught you, Froakie. Serena jumped around excitedly after successfully catching Froakie. Congratulations, Serena, that was a great battle. However, What made Serena even happier was Ash's praise. That's right. Her choice was definitely right. Only battles truly attract Ash. This meant that as long as her strength continued to increase, she would attract Ash's attention. Serena was very confident in her appearance. The only problem now was that Ash, that silly guy, wasn't paying attention to her. Serena believed that as long as she continued along this right path, she would definitely achieve her goal and successfully capture Ash, that silly guy. As for the exhausted Panjam after helping her capture Froakie, these kids really lack battle experience. After successfully capturing Froakie, Ash and his friends naturally set off again. Arriving in Azalea Town, it was already close to nightfall, making a gym challenge impossible. Looks like I'll just have to find a place to rest for the day. Unable to challenge the gym directly, Ash was naturally the most disappointed. However, even if you're the champion, the gym leader won't work overtime for you. Little did Ash know, soon, someone else would be even more disappointed. Pikachu, what the hell? What's going on? Kissed out by Misty, Mu Chen was heartbroken. Didn't we agree to chat about life, understanding, and the future every night, cultivating and strengthening our relationship? What the hell is this? Serena came along, and you kicked me out? I haven't even used my transformation yet. Resting in the wild, Mu Chen naturally wouldn't easily reveal his transformation skill to others. But before, whenever resting in town, Mu Chen would definitely stay with Misty. Knowing that this guy could turn into human, Zaya Aksha accepted this fact and even chatted with Mu Chen, who had turned into human, for 5 minutes every night to deepen their relationship. Now, their relationship had finally reached the point where they could hold hands, but Mu Chen's long wait for the town to rest ended abruptly. Although Mu Chen understood that Zaya Aksha had to live with Serena because of her, the problem was that this was a huge blow to him. Damn it. Looks like I can't slack off anymore. For his lifelong happiness, Mu Chen made a decision. Damn it, if things continue to develop like this, Zaya Aksha would probably treat him the same way in the future. There were only two ways to get rid of this predicament. Either he could find a way to get rid of Serena. Once she left the team, things would naturally return to normal. However, this option was unrealistic for Mu Chen. What if he finally found someone who was deeply in love with Zhi, and then she kicked him out of his main quest? Besides, even though I can't touch Miss Serena, isn't it still pleasing to the eye to look at those big black stockings every day? This option is unreliable, leaving Mu Chen with only one way out. That, naturally, is to let Serena get her wish and successfully win over Zhi. Once they're sleeping in the same room, no one will interfere with Mu Chen's grand plan of cultivating their relationship, right? Even better, after completing the main quest, wouldn't I be able to do some things beneficial to my mind and body? Thinking of this, Mu Chen's grief and indignation lessened considerably. Master, my brother sent me to find you, just as Mu Chen, huddled in the night wind, was preparing to spend the night, a clear voice suddenly came from above him. The owner of the voice was dressed in a purple ninja outfit, with stockings resembling fishing nets wrapped around her legs. This was none other than Aju's younger sister, Lingzi. Pikachu, since going to the island, Mu Chen hadn't contacted these ninja sisters. Unexpectedly, Lingzi came to him at this time. Master, my brother asked me to tell you to be careful of the Psychic-type Elite Four member, Ichiju, and the Dark-type Elite Four member, Rika. What the hell? Looking at Lingzi kneeling in front of him, Mu Chen was slightly stunned. Holy crap! What kind of situation is this? Psychic-type Elite Four member, Ichiju? Dark-type Elite Four member, Rika? What the hell are these two? I don't know them. Why should I be careful of them? Master, I don't know the specifics either. My brother has only just become the Poison-type Elite Four member, and there are many inside stories you can't access yet. But please rest assured, Master, my brother and I will find out as soon as possible. Just as Lingzi said, Aju has now become the Poison-type Elite Four member of the Chengdu region. However, because his experience is still shallow and his foundation is not deep, there are many things that he cannot access or know right now. This time, Aju only accidentally discovered something was wrong. Considering the possible crisis, he quickly sent his sister to inform his big brother, Pikachu. Pikachu, alright, I got it. Go back and tell Aju to find out all the details about this. Is someone trying to harm me again? Thinking of this, Mu Chen's anger flared. Damn it. What? Just because I look cute and cuddly, They think I'm easy to bully? What kind of weak psychic type Elite Four member? What kind of weak dark type Elite Four member? If you dare mess with me, I'll electrocute you all. Yes, Master, please rest assured, we will find out as soon as possible. Receiving Mu Chen's order, Lingzi breathed a sigh of relief. Thankfully, this time the Pikachu didn't do anything strange to him. But just as Lingzi was about to leave, a jolt of electricity suddenly flashed from Pikachu's cheeks. Pikachu, Pikachu, holy crap. Don't go. The night is long, and I can't sleep. After giving instructions, Mu Chen hadn't even finished gesturing when he saw the female ninja, Lingzi, trying to run away. How could he tolerate such a tempting offer? Without hesitation, he unleashed an electromagnetic wave, successfully pulling the ninja, who had already leaped into the air, back down. Master, through the moonlight, Lingzi saw Pikachu's eyes glowing red. At that moment, terrified, Lingzi could only helplessly close her eyes. Pika Pika, that's right, that's a good girl. How could she run away first? Come on Lingzi, prepare to face the whirlwind. Seeing Lingzi no longer resisting, Mu Chen was very satisfied. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all, see you in the next video.